Hello, Internet people. I'm Nick.
I'm Josiah.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We're friends and rivals. Well, welcome to episode 11 of Friends and Rivals Marvel Rivals podcast. It's good to be back. We're firmly in season 2 now. And this week we got a little bit of news for you, not nearly as much as last week. But we have a lot of first impressions now that the update has been out for a little bit. And we're going to be talking those, and then we're going to have even more than we have first impressions. We have balance changes.
Yeah.
There are 25 changes and like 9 team up adjustments. So we've got quite a bit. So that's what we're talking today, and then we will have a mailbag at the end. Yeah. Josiah.
Hey.
I saw you in person yesterday.
You did?
Yeah, you're on the wrong side of the country. What was that about?
Oh my gosh, yeah. What the heck? Wait, what time is it where we are?
Yeah, I know.
I'm used to it being much later than this.
Yeah, we're recording a day early just because of you're here visiting family, and so like all the stuff that you got to get done. It made more sense to do it a night earlier. But we're probably starting like an hour later than we normally do. And so I thought it was funny. I was telling you before we started, like I was panicking about, oh no, like it's
the time.
Oh, it's 9 and we haven't even started yet. This is gonna go forever, and I'm just realizing you're sitting here being excited.
Yep.
It's not midnight when we're starting.
Yep. Yeah, meanwhile I'm like, I got nothing but time. Oh man. Yeah, and some things change, some things stay the same. Here we are, throwback to our first attempt at recording episode 0. I am back in my in-laws' camper, the sleeper camper with just enough room to lay on my stomach with my legs folded up against the back wall here. And yeah, I have a nostalgic feeling. We've come so far, and but we're really still the same people, aren't we?
Yeah. It's been 2 months, but it's been a long 2 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's been a good 2 months. This is great, and it's great being already in season 2. And
yes,
man, I just want to get talking about it. So we don't have any reviews this week, but if you would like to leave one, we can read it on the show in a future episode. You can do that on Apple or Spotify, and we'll be able to see it. Or if you're able to do it somewhere else, I don't know of any other podcast places that have them, but if you're able to do it somewhere else, then send us an email letting us know where it is, and we'll find it.
Right. Yeah. We love going through those. We love reading them out. It's been a lot of fun. So, but yeah, thanks for doing that.
But for now, we have a little bit of news, so let's get to that.
All right. Well, that posture lasted for the 2 minutes of the intro, and then I needed to readjust. So now, instead of laying down and breaking my back in half, I am leaning up against the door with my microphone on an upturned laundry basket. Let's go. News. That's what you're here for. Not my sleeper camper lifestyle commentary. We got skins for y'all. I know we always got skins for y'all, but this time we got skins, if you know what I mean. If you're a Penny main or you're a Doctor Strange main, you're getting these skins. These are the coolest skins for these two characters.
These are pretty great.
Am I gonna try it? Yatsukahagi for Penny Parker. And, of course, the Multiverse of Madness Necromancer Strange for Doctor Strange. Holy crap. Nick, you sent me this picture this morning, alerting me of the skin post, and immediately I said in all caps something to the effect of, "Oh no, my wallet," because I'm like, That wasn't just for the joke in the moment. I will be buying both of these skins. 100%. Like the Doctor Strange Necromancer is the one that I was waiting for specifically,
Right.
and the Penny one. So I was telling you the concept art of this posted back in October, and someone had said that this was their like fan art for Penny Parker. So uh I guess there are potentially a couple of different options here, but I'm pretty sure what happened is that it was data mined and someone stole their concept art and said it was their fan art and posted it.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Tried to take credit for it. That
yeah, yeah,
feeling
yeah.
when you get, assigned making concept art for something at work and then it ends up on the internet under someone else's name and you're like, "What? I
Yeah,
can't I
yeah.
can't say that
Yeah,
this isn't
right,
yours."
right. But you're
Yeah.
under NDA and you're not allowed to say, "Wait, no, that's mine." But
Well,
but when they posted
my
it,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
oh no, yeah. When they posted it, I was like, oh my gosh! Like I'm a huge Studio Ghibli fan. I born and raised on Studio Ghibli, and I'm like, as soon as I saw that quote fan art, it's like, oh man, that's so such like heavy Princess Mononoke vibes. I would 100% buy that skin if it was real, and it is real. So yeah,
Yeah, I like half seriously thought to myself as soon as I saw this, I was like, did they just let loose someone with the Ghibli yourself AI
oh
on the Penny
no,
model and
oh man,
but no,
no, but
this looks
it's
really cool.
and
I
and
love his
the
like
cool thing.
I love his like tongue
Mm,
sticking out or whatever. Like the spider looks really derpy on his face, but then the chest piece face is like really menacing.
yeah.
It's just like a really interesting mix.
Yeah, that like kabuki style. It's super cool and it goes well. It's funny too, like because Spider-Man also has the like kabuki mask and very like Japanese theater style, and now Penny has it too. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
So
Not
Venom
shown
next.
here. I wonder because in the concept art that I saw, there was art for her spiders and for her mines too, which also
Mm.
had a different look to them. So I'm hoping that that comes through here, and we get to see some fuzzy, nasty spider mines and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, me too.
That'd
All
be
right, so
super cool.
Venom Kabuki mask and win.
Yep, yep. There we go. I
Complete the
know, right?
trio.
Complete the circle. But yeah, and I saw a bunch of comments for the Doctor Strange one. People like, oh man, what a strategy! Nerf our boy, and then release one of the coolest skins ever for him.
That's how they're
So
gonna artificially inflate his
yep,
playtime for the
yep, yep.
Scarlet Witch team up.
Exactly, exactly. They're trying to help a witch out
Yeah.
and get some strange mains back in action. But yeah, it's gonna work on me. I tell you what.
Which is kind of funny that you're gonna see this Doctor Strange teaming up with Scarlet Witch
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rather
That's
than,
true.
fighting her.
Trying to kill her.
But
Yeah.
you'll probably see that too.
Yeah.
Um, well, besides the skins, we also have if you just feel like your Discord avatar is a little lonely and you want it to have some cool flair as well.
I can fix
Discord,
that.
yeah, Discord is doing a thing that they've been doing recently called quests. They're doing a Marvel Rivals quest. Back in season 0, they did one where if you played for a little bit with Discord on, you would get a Jeff like frame for your
Yeah, I'm still
avatar.
bummed that I missed that one, man.
Yeah, well, that one ran out. It's when they do these, it's only for like 2 months, I think, that you get to keep them, and then they disappear. And so that one ran out like a month ago. I had a little Jeff on it, but it was really hard to see. It was really tiny. So they learned from that this time. Um, so they're doing another quest. Basically, all you have to do is you have to go into the Discord quests page and say, I want to use this. And if you play 15 minutes of Rivals while you're on your desktop with Discord on it, or you're on a console that you've connected your Discord account to, you will unlock a Emma Frost Discord avatar frame thing. It's got her standing on the left side of it, and then it's got like a diamond outline for your entire avatar. It's actually really cool. I think it's a lot cooler than Jeff one,
Mm.
and I'm rocking it already
Oh,
because
nice.
playing 15 minutes of Rivals on Discord is not hard. So
Yeah.
all you have to do is remember to turn it on and then use it once you acquire it. But that's going to be going until you have to claim it by May 16th. So you've got about a month to do that. And then I think it lasts 2 months. I don't know if it lasts 2 months from this weekend when they started it or from May 16th, but it
Yeah.
lasts for a couple months.
And then you too can let everyone know that you're a peasant who kneels before their queen.
Yep. And half of your Discord avatar can be thighs.
Congratulations. Well, speaking of speaking of showing some skin, Namor Namor still has his Twitch drops that are running through April 30th. So you still got some time to get that going. You have to watch 4 hours of a stream to get the full kit. So don't forget to do that. I think this is one of my favorite. I think this is my I think it is my favorite of the Twitch drop skins for him. So very cool.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, this week has obviously been the launch of season 2, and with Josiah traveling and me hanging out with him once he got here, we haven't either gotten to play too much, but we do have some first impressions from the little bit that we did get to play. So we want to talk through that next, and let's get to that topic.
Oh, and just a disclaimer, I meant to say this in the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to say it now. So because of the whole in a sleeper camper outside on my in-laws driveway, also with no LAN cable, you may hear a little bit of cutting out, or my voice quality might be a little lower than what you're used to. So I apologize for that. Hopefully I will come up with a fix for when this has to happen next time, because I'm sure it will happen again. But anyway, first impression. So we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about Emma Frost, of course. We're going to talk about Krakoa, the battle pass, some rank changes, team ups, and then get into the battle pass. But first and foremost, I mean, we have to start with the White Queen herself, Emma Frost. Let's just get right to it. She's freaking incredible.
Yeah.
We hypothesized that she was gonna be really good. You said you made a comment last episode that you think that even when the initial hype wears off, she's going to be one of those characters that still sees a lot of play. And I mean, I only have gotten to play like I think 5 or 6 games at your place yesterday, but every single one of them was so much fun, and she felt so good and so skillful. And I feel like I only scratched the surface of what she's capable of. I got MVP with her on my second game that I played, and then got another like 1 or 2. And the other
Yeah.
games that we played, like her kit, her play style, just how she shakes things up in the meta is so freaking cool. And all of those games too that I played were I was like very out of my depth. I have like my setup with my chair and my Naga mouse with 13 mouse buttons and my custom DPI and all those things. I was playing on a laptop with a default Dell mouse on a folding party table. And like still she absolutely rocked. So just a few things that I want to say about her. Yeah, go ahead before I keep ranting.
I was like, you're just going. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think she definitely feels like the strongest release,
Yes.
like so far. Like
Yep.
Invisible Woman was close, but I
No.
feel like
Stole the words right out of my mouth. 100% agree.
there's a lot of more competition in strategists where
Yeah.
Woman could like release strong, but still not necessarily be an insta-lock.
Yeah.
And my goodness, like Rivals right now feels like it's pay to win in the sense of whoever has the fastest solid state drive wins.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'll load into a map like pretty quick because I have a pretty good computer when it comes to that side of things,
Yeah.
and I'll insta lock, and then you'll just see the wave of Emma from people who are hitting the button. They're doing our aim trainer and they're hitting the button like before
Yeah.
they even see, just trying to get in. But yeah, she's launched super strong. I'm actually really interested to see how that shakes out over time.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
me
go
too.
ahead.
No, and pro tip, by the way, I feel like a lot of people don't do this, and when I've watched a few streams, I've seen a lot of people miss this. The game loads faster than the loading screen does. So make sure that if you are trying, this is a
Well,
like
if your
dirty
PC is good, the
advice.
game loads
Yeah,
faster
yeah.
than the
If
loading
your
screen.
PC
Yeah.
is good, if you have a good SSD, it will. And this is like dirty advice. I probably shouldn't be telling you how to insta lock people faster, but it will show a prompt when the game is loaded, but the loading screen is still up. I don't know why it does this actually. Like I don't really
They want you
understand,
to
but
see the pretty animation.
that's true. Yeah, I guess that's what they want. But you just hit spacebar. Watch for that, hit spacebar, and then you can insta lock them before anyone even knows what happens. And they're like, "What the? How did this happen?" Um,
I got so many comments from people being, "Oh, seriously, man."
can I have a turn? Um, anyway, yeah, so her battlefield control, her playmaking potential, her survivability, all absolutely top tier. Like Nick said, I am in 100% agreement that she is definitely the strongest post-launch hero we've gotten so far. I got to do a lot of the things that we talked about that we were excited about that she could do, which is super cool. I got to tank
Mhm.
a witch ult in diamond form and survive and not just survive the witch ult and then die, but actually survive the ensuing fight. Wasn't going to be able to get behind cover quick enough because of the positioning, so I went diamond form, I tanked the witch ult, and then I snuck around a corner real quick to get a health pack and kept on fighting. That was awesome. um I also got to pull off one of her crazy C9 ult moves
Yeah,
where we were at like creeping up 97, 98, 99. The enemy team started coming back. I had pushed up with my ult. And I'm like, all right, mind control, baby. And I grabbed them and just held them in place and kept them from pushing the match into overtime. Like that felt incredible.
that is a really like I've had moments like that come up in half a dozen games, and I've only played like a dozen games with her.
Yeah.
That is especially on control maps, which I mean they highlighted her by giving us a control map in that
Yep.
has a lot of choke points around the point.
Oh yeah, it does.
Um, oh my goodness, that is such a good like way to ensure that a game ends. Is just
Yeah.
use the ult on a choke where they're trying to come back from spawn,
Right.
and if they have to go around, which they don't have time to do, or they have to try to sneak past you somehow, like oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's such a good zoning tool, and that's not even what looks flashy about it.
Right. Right. Well, and we were talking about it last week that like from what we could see, it just seems like an ult. It has so many tools in it that it's just going to be one of those ults there's like never going to be a bad time to use it. And it really felt like that. Like I would use it in the middle of team fights, felt good. I would use it to keep the enemy from getting to the objective, felt good. I would use it to specifically like zone out certain heroes, like felt good. The one thing that I got to do that I hadn't speculated, I don't think either of us talked about, that is nasty, dude. When you're in a brawl and you get those enemy healers down to like, you know, 75, 60, 50% health, you use it then and they die. They just
Yeah,
can't do anything. They won't be able to, like, normally you get healers down to, you can get them down to 20% and they'll just keep sustaining themselves. They'll just keep picking themselves back
right.
up. But if you can grab both of them and they're 75% or lower, they're dead. And you just took out the enemy team. Like, that was what I ended up focusing a lot on with that ult. And it is just so nasty. And you get it freaking quick, too. It just feels like there's so much that you're doing with her. Like I never
Yeah,
felt like I was like I wish I had the ult right now. Like I always freaking had it, and that was an incredible feeling.
yeah. I think part of that is because of the beam weapon. Like you're doing a lot
Yes.
of damage just kind of even on accident when you're switching
Yep.
targets.
Yep.
That's building up that ult pretty quick.
100%. Yeah. I mentioned last episode that I am a basic beam boy all the way. And yeah, holy crap, that primary ability, man, it feels so good. I hadn't made the connection on our first impressions because like the kit and play styles between these two characters are really like nothing alike, but what is alike is the primary attack, which is Zarya's primary attack from
Mhm.
Overwatch. I hadn't thought about that. It's literally the exact same thing. It's a beam weapon that increases in damage the more you use it. And Zarya was my main tank in Overwatch. I was like, I was a pretty nasty Zarya. So I don't know what it is about beam weapons in general that makes my aim feel better. Something about, I don't know if it's like purely psychological, just like seeing the line drawn from you to the enemy, but like as soon as I used her, I was holding left click on tanks, DPSs, strategists, like I was able to trade well and deal so much damage and delete them so quickly. Like I something about that. It just makes my aim feel really nasty, and I love just using her primary attack. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really good. A couple things I was thinking about on abilities that we haven't touched yet. So she her ult, the one thing that scares me long term about
Mm,
her is that her ult feels really hard to counter. Like there's a lot of
yeah,
ults in the game that are really powerful, but there's ways to get around them. Hers
yeah.
feels really hard, and I don't know if that's just people haven't figured out how to do it yet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if things like CCs are going to work on her in that and drop her out of it, like or if it's just something where you have to kill her through it. But it's really hard to
Mm,
kill her through it when if you so much as are facing the same direction she's looking, you get taken over at some point.
yeah.
I I did notice though that once you get mind controlled, you only get mind controlled for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then you're able to move again.
Oh,
It doesn't last until the ult is over. So if she
okay.
gets you right at the beginning, you will recover at the end, but you're probably close to dead at that point.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, the closest counter I've seen so far to her ult is just being another Emma Frost and going diamond
Right,
farm.
right. Hmm.
Um, but I'm not sure if she has the unstoppable in the ult because like
Yeah,
theoretically that could be good is if you're able to pull her. But I mean, sometimes even without unstoppable, you're not able to pull people out of their ult with
yeah,
CC. But if you are, that might honestly be the answer for now until we find more things. Is just go diamond form as another Emma Frost, run up and choke grab her and like knock her out of it. But I haven't seen that happen, so I'm not really sure that
right,
it
right.
can happen. But that diamond form is so good
Oh my
for all of
gosh,
the
man.
reasons. Like it's like playing the thing. You turn into the
Yeah.
thing for a little bit, right?
Yep.
And in so many ways, but especially the unstoppable. I like
Oh
it's
yeah.
hard to understand how like ahead of time like how good that is. But I
Yep.
just stood in the middle of a Jeff ult today. I heard the Jeff ult thing start, hit shift, and just stood in the middle of it, and he didn't
Yeah,
do
man.
he it's it's so good. You can stand in the middle of other Emma Frost ults like we mentioned. Like there's so many things you can do with it where you just
Yep.
ignore what they want to do.
Yeah, and that again, like that 8 second uptime for Diamond Form is
Yeah.
just absolutely insane. We mentioned last week that having that as an ability without even being like a phase switch, which it is, would already be good enough. But it also has the phase switch, which is crazy. And it genuinely feels incredible. There are very few circumstances where you are not going to be able to kick somebody into a wall and deal that massive damage. Like there's just
Hmm.
so many opportunities for that. I found that for me, one of the like something that I was actively thinking about while I was playing Emma is like, oh man, she is a really engaging character to play, like constantly thinking about, okay, what's the next thing I'm gonna do, like what's
Hmm.
next on my rotation, basically. Like I think she's gonna be the people who are good with her are gonna really really master that, like cooldown timing, coming up with like strong rotations for her, because you always want to be using all of your cooldowns as soon as you have them with her. She's like one of the only characters that I feel that you just like as soon as you get it, you want to do it and you're going to benefit from it because
Right.
all of her abilities feel like so useful and essential to her kit.
Yeah.
Um,
I definitely found myself using the sentience prison thing, like just kind of tapping E while I'm
yeah,
while I'm
yeah,
beaming, just like waiting for it to come up if I'm like I aimed on someone
yep,
because that's just so much extra burst damage. And then with the with Diamond Form, something I found interesting was, initially I was just trying to do the YouTube clip highlight thing of go
Yeah,
into
yeah,
Diamond Four form, choke slam someone, turn them around, kick them behind you into your team, kind of thing, or kick them
yeah,
off the map or whatever. And that happens. There are moments where that happens, but I find a lot of times in Diamond form the E, like I'm using it to get up close, and if I hit someone, great. But if I don't, like a lot of times it's just because there's a wall behind the enemy team. Like the enemy team is between me and a wall, and
yeah,
I'm just trying to get up close enough to kick him two or three times.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like what I'm really worried about is kicking him into the wall two or three times because that thing
Right,
sweeps.
right,
It's not just single target kick.
right.
Like it sweeps. So I knocked an Emma and an Invisible Woman into a wall today, um, and then knocked them into it again when they didn't get out of there, and it basically just killed both of them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. Like the E is so visceral and incredible, but I'm right there with you. Like in all the games I played with her, I found that I was more the her kick more than her choke.
yeah,
Just because there's so much damage there, so much burst. But man, yeah, when you can land that when you can land that choke slam, it is so satisfying. There's just like something so disrespectful about picking someone up and flipping them over you onto the ground.
yeah.
It's a incredible feeling.
I did it
Um,
to a Hulk yesterday.
oh
And
yeah,
it was just
so wrong. Yeah, yeah. That's it's amazing. Something I that I started doing already just in these first few games is you get a little bit of dash, you get a little bit of lunge with her E.
Mhm.
So I actually found myself using it like magic with her E
Yeah,
as not always to like get the hit, but just to gain a little bit of distance, a little bit faster. People who think they're safe, suddenly they're not. Next thing they know, their back is against a wall and they're dead.
yeah, yeah.
So there's definitely some like movement utility in that too. Um,
And it is useful when you're coming back from being dead. Like if you do it like
yeah,
right at the beginning,
yep,
do
yep.
it and then
I did
cancel
that too.
diamond form immediately so the cooldown
Yeah,
starts. And by
yeah,
the
yeah.
time you get back to your team, the cooldown's there, and you just got a little bit of extra distance that way.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just there's so much. I can't wait to keep playing her and learning more about her. Just a couple kind of like Spitfire things that I learned. We had talked about some of this a little bit last episode that we were speculating, and I feel like we got to learn a little bit more. So the I'm calling it Soul Rip. I can't remember. I don't have her movement list. I only have one screen, so I can't remember what her move is actually called. But the Sentience, the Soul Rip, it has way more range than I expected it to have. You can hit people far away, and you can rip that sentience out of them from really, like, you can pull it really far away from them too. So it isn't just something like you see in all the trailers where she like uses it at close range and it just pulls it right in front of them. That's probably how you're going to end up wanting to use it most of the time,
Right,
but
because you don't
you
want to
don't.
have to take a long range shot to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But you can. So for moments where like maybe your team's not ready to full on engage, shoot, just get a little bit extra DPS off on people who think that they're safe from you. That's great. But like Nick said, you're probably not going to want to do it at a long range. And the reason why, what we discovered, is that it is a skill shot. So it is a projectile relative. It's not like slow, but it's certainly, it's not hit scan. It's a skill shot, so it is easy to land in close range, but once you start getting beyond even like at the maximum range of your primary, you can miss it pretty easily, so you got to be really
Mhm.
careful with that.
Yeah, the other thing about it I noticed is there's some sort of, it looks like the way that it disappears is based on some
Hmm.
sort of distance between the
Yes.
character and the soul
Yep.
sentience. So that was I mean, I'm not going to say anything on her kit is a bummer because it's all ridiculously powerful. And if I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
everything I wanted, it'd probably be completely broken.
Right.
But the one thing that I was bummed about was I had initially thought, oh, this will be a great tool. If you can land the skill shot on like a Spider-Man or an Iron Fist or something,
Yeah.
then great. You can do a bunch of damage to them without having to follow them around all over the place. But you can, but they have to be like on top of somebody and not running away.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
usually they're dashing in and out. Like Black Panther will go out of that range pretty quick. And
Right,
even if
right.
you land it, it's probably going to just disappear before you can really do anything to it.
Yeah, you unfortunately cannot create your own personal collection of phylacteries for the
Yeah.
enemy team and then crush them all and kill them all
You just
because
have a
they've reached.
collection of Horcruxes for the other team. And
Yeah, 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 exactly. Just destroy them all from across the map when they're all low health. Um,
yeah.
one can dream. Maybe maybe it's a custom game. One other thing, I think my last note is her primary attacks. We were talking about. I was expecting it to be more punishing than it was, but I think your theory was closer to being correct. I think you might have just been straight up right. Her primary attack, it holds its charge. So it does more damage the longer you are hitting a target. You do have to be hitting a target. It's not just holding it down. You have to be hitting a target to be increasing in that damage.
Mhm.
And then if you miss or if you kill the target or you disengage with the target, whatever, you're going to hold the charge that you have, and it's from 1 to 100, by the way. There's a number that shows you how much charge you have. You're going to hold that for a couple seconds, and then it'll start to slowly diminish over time. But I mean, for her, that's really great.
Yeah.
You
It,
can even reload and not lose charge, which is
right.
cool. So yeah,
And it does seem to gain charge and keep charge off of equipment like Loki clones and Spider
yes.
Nests. And it seemed like even other Emma's shields. I didn't test
Oh
that, but
yeah.
I think I noticed that I was still gaining on other Emma shields. Um, so that's pretty good. Uh, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Well, I said that was my last, and now that you said Emma Shield, I guess those are all my initial observations. I think the one thing that I'll say that I want to be really intentional with is like how to use her shield well.
Yeah.
I do feel like I definitely like got good use out of it. I just feel like I was using it in like only one of two ways. I was either using it to try and block an ult, which I did successfully do a number of times, where an Iron Man would ult or a Witch would ult, and I would like position it right in front of them and be able to stand next to them and survive.
Hmm.
I did get that. The only other thing I really used it for, though, was like myself, to be honest. I would get in a close range fight and I'd set it up like right in between the enemy and I, just so that I would take a little bit less damage in the fight.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like there were a couple times where I attempted to like place it out in front of my team, and I just noticed it losing health so quickly that I would bring it back, and so I just want to experiment more with that and see how I
Yeah.
can get good with her shield placement.
Yeah, the shield, I'm not sure. I don't know if you noticed this, but what was really interesting to me was the way that it was placed out. I expected Sigma from Overwatch, where like
Yeah.
you kind of just push it out as a slow projectile and you can stop it, but it's
Uh huh.
like a projectile. But hers actually, it's a projection from her in
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
direction you're looking. So you can like put it out and then before you let go, like look around and it
Yeah.
will move with your eyesight, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting. Um, it also means though that you can't like start pushing it out while you're like moving laterally and have it be positioned in front of wherever you originally were.
Right.
It's going
Right.
to
Right.
move
Right.
with you until you let go of it. So
Yeah.
there's some pros and cons to that because I think it does make it harder to protect your team with it,
Yeah.
because it will be anchored right in front of you. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to be able to. You could even reset it by looking at a wall that was really close, and it would push it all the way back in
Yeah.
if
Hmm.
you hadn't let go yet. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things with that. But we should talk about some other things in this
Yeah.
update other than just Emma Frost. But I will
There was.
say, yeah, I will say though, uh, the voice acting for this update They leaned hard into the memes, and a lot of it is with Emma, like her ult line, the Neil Peasants thing.
That's
People
so
have been
good.
posting screenshots of her saying Neil Peasants since they like introduced her,
Yeah.
um, and they actually made that her ult line. Um, but today in a game, I had a Jeff on my team, and it was a little annoying how often it happened. But unfortunately, I hate to say this, I think it had more to do with how often my Jeff was dying than it had to do with
Oh.
how often it was set to say that. But about 5 or 6 times during that game, I heard her say, "No, my baby," whenever
Oh.
Jeff died.
Oh.
There's that, and then they were definitely baiting people into hoping for future skins with a magic Emma interaction that I saw,
Oh.
where Emma was basically criticizing Magic wearing battle armor for a gala, and was saying that she could offer her something from her wardrobe. And Magic was like, "Oh yeah,
Nice.
maybe next time." So they're definitely trying to get people going. Yeah, give us a Emma Frost Magic skin. Um, but my favorite one, I think, was Spider-Man. It wasn't an
Mm.
interaction; it was just a Spider-Man line. Just when you're on the Krakoa map, he just says to himself, "Wolverine," or no, what does he say? He says, "Go to a gala." Wolverine said, "It'll be fun," he said,
Nice.
which
I
is
love
yeah, the old Skyrim. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I like all of the voice lines I've heard from Emma interacting with people have been very they're leaning hard into that mommy energy, I
Yeah,
would
they
say.
are, yeah.
I also heard a voice line with her and Magic that I thought was cool where she was talking about I guess I don't know if in the lore if you had seen any of this where Emma like trained Magic for
Oh, no, I didn't.
some like control of her abilities, but she I don't know like what the context was, but I heard while I was playing Emma and you were playing Magic actually in one of those games she made a comment about like there you go girl, like that's using it how I taught you or something like that. I'm
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
yeah, she's yeah, very motherly.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love how they do the voice stuff in this game. Like
Yeah, oh
there's
me
so
too.
many good interactions. There's so much for them to pull from, so it makes sense. But they
Yeah,
they do such a good job making it always, I mean, for a long time it feels like there's new things to discover. And then
yeah,
now every time they add a new map and a new character, that adds a whole nother web of interactions that they can have. My only complaint is still that what the voice lines you get are not synced up
yes,
for your
I
teammates.
know, no,
So
I
if you're in a
agree.
party with people, like we've had that interaction so many times, we're like, "Oh my goodness, did you just hear what these two said?" And everyone's like, "No, I
Yeah,
didn't." Yeah.
that
Um,
actually that bothers me a lot, and I really hope that they do change that.
yeah.
I can't imagine that it was intentional. I have to think that it was just like an oversight, and it was minor enough that they're like, I mean, it doesn't really like affect anything.
Right. Yeah. I
So
mean,
they kind of
it's
left it,
a
but
valid choice. It just doesn't make sense when you're having a communal experience as a team to hear
yeah,
different things. Yeah.
right. But very cool. Well, we are gonna talk about Krakoa. Uh, Such a beautiful map. There's so much here. If I can describe it in one word, though, I would say frenetic.
I would
This
say I'm lost.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of it. That's why I picked this word. So, the map feels chaotic and unbalanced, but in a that may sound bad, and to some it might be. To me, that's good. This is not a meta map. um, the 3 lane Valorant CS, MOBA maps. This ain't it, honey. This is going to be a map that is you are going to have to work around and
Hmm.
work with, and I really like that. I like when there's chaos in map design and things like that when they get more creative. It felt very it was I can't put my finger on why. I'm not like I've played a ton of Halo in my day, but I'm not like a god of Halo map design or anything. But I was getting Halo vibes from it, and not just from like purple spike needler aesthetic rocks.
Right. Yeah.
There was something about it. There was part of that, at least, I think, was the verticality. This map just has tons of verticality. There was one point where I was in a battle and I fell and I was like, ah, shoot, I died. And then I hit the ground. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, this is a huge freaking map. And I said
Yeah.
this last week too, where you said that because I was like, oh my gosh, like that map looked huge. And it is. It's a big map, and there's a lot of places to fight. There's a lot of gross angles and flank routes, and yeah, man, I've been enjoying it for how for how crazy it is.
Yeah, it's really good. I think I was gonna say this, and as I'm thinking about it, I think um, it might just be visual, or it might just be that we're not used to it yet. But I feel like the walk back, especially on the Cerebro Cradle map,
Mm,
are really long. But I think that might just be visual because when I sit and think about it, some of the ones on Throne Room, like the Royal Palace map, like some of those walkbacks are pretty long too. And it might just be that because it's a giant cave, there's just this sense of scale that makes it feel like it
yeah,
takes you forever to get anywhere. But I've also been playing a bunch of Emma Frost, who has way less mobility than I'm used to when I'm
sure.
playing, Psylocke or Magic or something trying to get back. So yeah,
Yeah,
but the
there were a
verticality of those is
couple.
fantastic.
Right. Just to, on your walk back comment, there were a couple times where I did feel that too. I think if when I took like the center path, I didn't feel that as much.
Hmm.
Um, but it wasn't the worst for me though. There's I as a defender on the Eternal Knights, frick, the second one, not Midtown, but um
Central Park.
yeah, Central Park. As a defender, I think it's phase two where you're walking out of a castle. I get so stuck getting back to the fight on that one. That's the worst one for me. This one didn't feel like it had the longest walk time, but
Yeah.
I did experience what you're saying.
Yeah, and the long walk time isn't necessarily a bad thing, like overall. Um, it's something that might be a little annoying if it really is true. But if it is true, what it actually means is that it changes your strategy for that game, because when you're on that map, now all of a sudden winning a team fight is even bigger deal than it normally
Yeah.
is if the walk is longer, right? And so
Yep.
it just kind of changes maybe even what your strategy is and what your team comp is, and makes you try to stay alive a lot longer. Maybe Adam Warlock is even more powerful on that map for the res. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a
They
thing that they
nerfed
can
him
play
just for
with.
Krakoa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a thing that they can play with map design of like, is it quick walk back? Is it a long walk back? And
Yeah.
what is interesting, and I think I this is one of the things that leads me to think the walk back probably is longer than other maps, is that there's the portals that open like halfway through the map. I don't know what
Yep.
triggers them, like if it's time or percentage or how many times the you know point has shifted back and forth.
Right,
But
right,
at
right.
some point, they give you a shortcut to make the walk shorter,
Yeah.
quicker. But it pushes you to routes to come in, because the portals never drop you like right in the middle. So
Right.
there's a lot of interesting stuff to see with this map as we go forward. The portals are way more impactful than I thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Initially just saw the one from the spawn and it was like, okay, yeah, that's a cute like spawn room, and now we're not there. But like, I had a Groot today that I got. You were watching me. I had him down to 1 health, and I
Yeah.
was backing him up, and he backed into the
And he
portal
jumped
with
through.
literally 1 health, and then just disappeared, and
Yeah.
I never got the kill, and he came back with full health because he got
Yep.
ported somewhere into his team. I had a
Yeah,
game
man.
where I fell down below the point and saw a portal down there and escaped from someone, and it dropped me way above the battle with like no platform, so you just fall when you
Oh,
come through it on
whoa.
the other side, like down onto the objective. And in the moment, that was great because I escaped and was able to land on a healer and be saved. But it made me realize, like, oh my goodness, if I'm playing certain assassin characters, I'm
Which,
100% just going below this map and then dropping in from the sky. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Holy
I
crap.
think
Yeah. Can you start your ult and then portal up above everybody?
I don't know. That's worth testing. We
Yeah.
uh we need to find someone in the community who like really enjoys testing things because we always
Yeah,
call out like, "Oh, we should
I
test
know.
this," and then we don't do it. But
We need a
um,
friends and rivals mythbuster.
we do, yeah, yeah. But yeah, this I think overall this game or this map, one hand it like is just the most beautiful map they've put out so far, for sure.
Mm,
But on the other hand, like I think it's also one that we're gonna be discovering things for
yeah.
and learning for a very long time. I think it has a lot of replay value and a lot of I don't know if skill ceiling is the right word, but like
No.
there's gonna be a lot of like map knowledge that can be gained about this map because there's a
Yeah.
lot going on there.
No, I definitely agree. This was the first time out of all the maps where I like sat down for a second after I played and I'm like, man, I've never thought this before, but I am 100% going to do an easy AI game, all AI, all bots, play as Invisible Woman, and just stay invisible and literally walk around the entire map and look at all of the different like features
Hmm.
and flank routes and like hold B and see all the destructible environments and things like that because it is so complex. Yeah, it's awesome. And I love just like thematically too. This is there's man-made structures obviously, but it's very in that like utopia vein. It's very very nature heavy, and I feel like the that like untamed wild aspect of nature comes through really well and is a really nice contrast to like the more clean symmetrical like expected streets and walls and things like that of some of the other maps. It's a good palate cleanser
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in between everything. So yeah, can't wait to play more of it.
And that's just good design on their part, like using like New York and Tokyo as convoy maps where you're taking a
Yeah,
long path through a very
yeah,
narrow thing and then using a domination map to explore this kind of place that's all very open-ended and
yep,
yeah, it's good. That's good design right there.
heck yeah,
Well, beyond a new character and a new map, we got a new battle pass and some events and mission changes and all of that just kind of grab bag of new season stuff going on.
yep,
I
yeah. It's good.
Yeah, what do you think about it so far?
Oh, I mean, the battle pass. There's not much more for me to say. Like it was incredible looking when they launched it. Buying it, I bought it instantly, and it's fantastic. They're just knocking it out of the park with the battle passes, the skins, the emotes, the sprays. They're all so much fun. I haven't like literally clicked on every single item and every single slide yet. I didn't want to spend the limited time that I had at your place yesterday doing that,
Yeah.
but I did want to spend at least 2 minutes of the limited time putting in my credit card information and buying it because it's super cool. Yeah, the only man the only negative thing I have to say about this whole thing is the the confirmation of the weekly thing. I talked about my concern a little bit last week, and I was hoping that it was going to end up being that the weekly challenges were longer than a week. They are, in fact, not. So it is 7 days to get that, and on weeks like this, I think I did manage to get like 3 of them yesterday, which you only have to get 4.
Mhm.
So out of the 7 to get the full benefit, you only have to do 4 rather than 7, which is cool. But yeah, if you miss it, you miss it, and it is what it is. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but not enough to like really burn me down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. So they give you 6 and then you have to do 4 and
6, that's right. Yeah.
it gives you 500 credits if you do all 4 of them. Each one you do gives you 100, but then when you do the fourth one, they give you 200. So honestly, the 500, sorry, not credits, battle pass points. I forget what they're
Yeah.
actually called.
Yeah, the
Chrono tokens.
chrono tokens, yeah.
Yeah. Um, the 500 chrono tokens, I think it is doing, at least in week one, it does seem like it's doing what they wanted it to do. On the one
Yeah.
hand, in the negative sense, like it is, forcing you to play every week for a decent amount of time. But the
Yeah.
challenges aren't much longer than some of the like challenges we were getting before that they took away for it.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah,
them,
some are the
some of them
same,
are a
some
bit
are
longer.
shorter.
Yeah, some are a bit longer, some are a bit shorter. Um, but they didn't feel like something that was going to take me all week. I remember some other
No.
games that had weeklies. It was like you were working on it the whole week.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 100%. And and
And
and yeah.
yeah, and it did really give a boost to the consistency in the first week of battle pass progress. Like
Hmm.
I almost have the whole first page done, and I'm getting the Psylocke skin next. And a lot of that was just due to the weeklies. Like 500,
Right.
500 points is going to give you two things on that page and a half, right? And along the
Yeah.
way, you're still doing the dailies, you're still doing the regular challenges that they do give you. So it last season, I kind of felt like there was this stop and go of very little progress, and then a bunch, and then very little, and then a bunch, kind of like on a every other week kind of basis.
Hmm.
And this at least means that there's going to be a chunk that you get every week, that you will kind of get all at once when you finish the weeklies, you know. But that's an exciting little moment, just going, oh, I can buy a couple things.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure. And because before the challenges, I think this is 80, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like so 500. I mean, yeah, you're definitely getting more quicker. You just are also going to lose more quicker if you're
right,
not
yeah,
if you're not doing it. Which again, I totally understand. Of course they it's they're a business. Like they want to get their players to play the game. And like I want to. Like this isn't a problem. This isn't a
yeah,
bad problem to have. It's just those times where you like, you don't have the time to do it. It is what it is. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I am curious to see how the math works out at the end of the season,
Me too.
because
Yeah.
on the one hand, were saying that they were doing this to make more people be able to finish. Um,
Yeah.
but then I think they also said that like they were just readjusting where you get things from. They weren't adding more points. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure how those two things work together. Um, but uh, I was keeping track last season in the season one battle pass when they added the extra units at the end for any extra points that you accrued over time.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I ended up with 500 units that I got from just extra battle pass points.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
I'll be keeping track again this season, and in 12 weeks I can let you know, did I get more than 500 or did it stay about the same? It'll be incredibly circumstantial and not, anecdotal and not scientific. But I'm curious at looking at it for myself, just because like right now it seems like I'm getting a lot more than I was. But
Yeah.
they made the statement that it wasn't actually going to give you more. So I don't know if maybe I was missing a bunch from dailies I wasn't doing or stuff like that. But yeah. Um, well, another set of changes that came in was ranked and the ranked adjustments. And neither one of us really have any firsthand experience with that yet.
Yeah.
I tend to wait a week or so before heading into comp, to learn the new character and map first.
Yeah.
But mostly to avoid the initial clown fiesta of like all the high ranked players climbing back up from the rank they got dropped to and being all mixed in
Yep.
with everyone else. And,
Yep.
uh, you know, Gold is the
Yeah.
new Grandmaster this week, which is I don't want to be anywhere near that when all the Grandmasters are in Gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I said I only had one negative thing. I guess I kind of have to. Man, going from gold to bronze does not feel good. um I will say I hope this is the last time we see something like that with the 9 rank drops.
Yeah, I
Um
think I think it probably is, but yeah.
right. I do too. I don't know if I think that they're going to implement a placement match system, but I also really hope that they do that. I don't like. I would love to see, like, there's no way they didn't like consider it because literally
Right.
every single game does it. So it was a very intentional decision to do something that I've literally never seen before. So I would love to see like why,
Why?
what the
Yeah.
reason was, because it certainly wasn't just because, oh, let's do something different. Like these devs have made it very clear they're not just doing things to be different. But yeah, with season 3 being end all, um, seasons henceforth being only 2 months, they're gonna do. I know that they're gonna do a different way.
Yeah, well they at least won't be able to drop people that much cuz
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Um,
And
oh, and
they weren't planning on it. They were saying 7.
yeah,
In season 1.5, they said it'll be 7 at the beginning of seasons and 4 in the middle, and then they did 9 this time. And I think that's just because I think I mentioned it last week. I think it's
yes,
because they
yeah.
rebalanced how ranked works,
Right. I think you nailed it. Yeah.
which we don't have any firsthand experience, but we did have a lot of people a few people talking in our comp channel on the Discord today about the rank changes, and from their initial reports, the new system seems pretty good. Um, they were saying that the new points calculation changes, like if you're contributing to your team, win or lose, it feels really good. I think they had said they were doing well on their team and they were getting like 36, 37 points on wins, which is, I think it's like, that's like 10 more points than you used to. Typically,
Dude.
you would get like 26, 27, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then they said they had an SVP game where their team lost, right? Because they were SVP. Um, and I think they lost 17 instead of losing like 27, 28.
Nice.
So it seems like there's like a 10-point adjustment from those games. I don't know how much it, works out for every game, but
Come on. I
um,
need my survivor right now. If I get SVP, make it a totem. Make me immune to losing points.
well, they already do that too, but yeah, not for SVP. Yeah, just every third game you lose or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah. The
right?
chrono. Yeah, yeah. The chrono shield. Um, yeah. Join the Friends and Rivals Discord. It's going to be linked in the show notes.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, I'm excited to experience that. I can't wait to see how the climb feels. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
probably gonna hop into it this week sometime and start that climb back up. Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah,
to get
yeah.
to that pick and ban. I need to experience it.
Yes, yes. Oh, and I should have said this in the news actually, but don't forget, make sure that you do play your 9 games this week. You have until April 21st, I think it is the last day for the Scarlet Witch
It's 2 weeks from
scan.
whenever the update came
Yep,
out. So yeah, it
yep,
should be
yep.
24th, 25th, somewhere in there.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah. So don't miss out on that.
Yeah.
Um, last part of our first impressions before we get into the balance patch is, pardon my Siri listening to me right there. If you
I
could
was
hear
like,
that, I
what
don't
was
know.
that? Yeah.
I found this on the web. My Siri is always listening to me. Anyway, privacy intrusion aside, so I only experienced one team up because I only played like 6 games. The last of which was with Namor, and holy crap, the Gamma Puss. You heard it here. I haven't heard anyone else call it that. The Gamma Puss feels like cheating, gang. Um, again, I know I've only played one match, so I guess you have to take my first impression assault. But the range, the damage, the uptime, all of those factors left me with the distinct feeling that this is definitely getting nerfed in 2.5. I like
It's
I,
not getting nerfed.
it's not getting
Your
hey,
notes.
don't comment on my typos, bro. We gonna start doing that?
It's definitely gonna
um
get nerfed.
it's getting neefed,
Can we just
according
call
to
it that?
my notes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anytime a neef happens. um yeah, man, like, uh, not only is it just by default incredible, but our impressions were wrong from last week. It When you land his right click, it does do an extra burst of damage and increase fire rate like his other Octos. And we don't have the numbers for what that is because the stats
Right.
aren't out as far as I know. But like, oh my goodness. At the end of that game I played, I mean, again, it was only one game, but I got MVP and I think I was like 30-1, and I was just like bullying people all across that map. The thing is like a sniper rifle. It does so much damage so quickly. My goodness, it's nasty.
Yeah, the game I played of it too, it was just gross. I don't really know what to say other than that. But it does make sense that the right click does increase the damage for a little bit, just because they would be removing a big part of his right click,
Yeah,
uh, from that squid otherwise. But
for sure.
yeah,
It just seemed like,
I can't wait until we get information on
yeah, of
exactly
like,
what's going on there.
right. And the only reason why, at least why I was saying that I didn't expect it to be there, is because the stats that we got for just like the base damage of the Gamma Octo already sounded so crazy that
Hmm.
like, I'm like, oh man, like, can they really afford to give this even more damage? And apparently they said yes.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about it in a minute when we get to the balance patches, but Hulk feels so much better in this patch
Oh
too.
man,
That
you're watching you play him.
that
It's
combo
crazy.
is I yeah. If you're not playing Emma Frost, Magneto, Psylocke, please play Hulk no more.
Yes. Yeah. Did you get to mess with any other team ups really?
Um, I had one Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch game, but then I don't even think I got to use the ability before the Doctor Strange disconnected.
Oh, oh
So
no.
it's mostly that, and then I've been playing some Psylocke with the team up, and that's good.
Oh yeah.
I haven't felt like I've figured out how to use it yet,
Hmm.
but I know it is good. Um, but I'm not sure. Like it seems easier to tell what you're supposed to do with it on Magneto and just be an extra big target that
Yeah.
people are trying to figure out what to do with and can't get rid of for a while. With Psylocke though, it's got to be more about the damage or escaping or
Sure.
something, and I'm just trying to figure out what the exact uses are for
Yeah, I
it.
know you were
But
speculating last week that landing two sets of shurikens and slashing, doing like the dash slash through a target would be pretty nasty, but
yeah,
I'm
and
I'm sure that's
it
also hard to
probably
land.
is. I just haven't. Yeah, I haven't been able to land it yet. So
Yeah.
I need to go into the practice range and try that out a little bit and see what it is I'm attempting to do. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, let's jump into the balance patch and go through and talk about all our peeps.
so with the launch of season 2, we had a new balance adjustment post, and now that we've had a little bit of time to experience what the new world is like, we wanted to look through these balance patch notes and hopefully this can help you guys keep track of things. Because I know when they change 25 heroes and 9 team ups, I have a hard time remembering what's changed for like weeks
I know.
until it finally settles in. Then we get another one. So we're just gonna go straight down the list. Read out what the main changes are for each hero, and just highlight things that we feel need highlighting. But
Hmm.
we're gonna try to not take 3 hours with this. So let's start with the Vanguards, and we've got Captain America. And they say that he's going to undergo some adjustments to his survivability, leading to a slight decrease in his overall resilience. And what that meant was they reduced his base health from 675 to 650. Although he is gaining a team up where he gets 100% or 100 max health bonus.
Hmm. Yeah.
So this really is a 75 health increase. But to make up for that, they took his shield value down from 400 to 350 on his shield, which I'm sure you're going to feel quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
overall, he gained 25 health, kind of, if you count the shield as health. But the shield is, easily regenerable, regenerative. It's regenerated easily, and so that's probably more than the 50 health that you're losing there. You're losing a lot more than that.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this kind of has the same effect as the Hulk nerf back in, which I still think about, back in season one, where people see Captain America get nerfed and be like, "Wait, what?"
Well,
um,
I don't. I don't want
yeah,
any more dirtbag caps in the in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
back
Captain,
line.
Ma- Captain out here winning games,
Yeah.
y'all. So play Captain America if you want to win. Play Captain. Um, uh, Doctor Strange. The Sorcerer Supreme will see a reduction in his offensive capabilities, limiting his battlefield control. So we talked about this last week, but Daggers of the Knock, it's a two damage reduction from 18 to 16, and then the bigger one, but reducing the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of Dark Magic from 1.3 to 1.2. Yeah, again, 0.1 does not sound like much, but this eliminates his one hit kill potential with his alt, and it also gets into one of his big wombo combo like knockout abilities gets not as good. So
Yeah.
part of the list, the stream of strange nerfs. We'll see what it means as the season goes on. He's still good, so don't
Right.
don't
He
get too upset.
Funnily enough, in an undoing of his previous nerfs, which were all to his health, he got
Yeah.
100 health for being a team up for Scarlet
Yeah.
Witch. So he's
Right.
now back to being really survivable.
Yeah.
But now they're attacking his damage to make up for it.
Yeah.
But not losing in this balance patch is the
No, not at
Hulk,
all.
which
Holy
I
crap.
played one game of Hulk to let you have the Namor squid. Or what were we
Thanks.
calling him? The Gamma Puss?
The Gamma Puss.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was not a Hulk player, but I think I might be now. This feels really good, and I think it kind of coincided with me learning how you're supposed to use his leap, just from watching
Right.
a video before we started. So I'm not sure how much of this is the buff, but the buffs do seem really good. So it says the Green Goliath will boast enhanced maneuverability and improved survivability upon entering combat. They increased his base movement speed from 600 to 650, which you definitely feel. You can chase down people and slap them around a lot easier. So for someone with a melee kit like Hulk, that's a big deal, moving
Yeah.
faster than most people. Um, they reduced the cooldown time for his indestructible guard, which is his bubble, from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, which means
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to cycle a lot quicker because you don't
Yep.
have to wait for that to go back out before you can jump back in on people. But also, you're gonna survive and help your team a lot more. And
Yeah.
then they decreased the minimum charge time for Incredible Leap from 0.7 seconds to zero point 0.5. And this is what feels nasty because um, you can essentially leap, and by the
Yeah.
time you're done leaping, like by the time you really land, if you're holding space immediately, you can pretty much just let go and leap again. Like it,
Yeah.
there's almost no downtime between his jumps now.
Yep.
Uh, of
Welcome to the
course,
bunny hop meta. You came to
yeah,
Rivals to avoid it in COD. Congratulations. Here it
it's
is.
just a giant green half naked man who's doing it now. And yeah, this felt amazing. So I had read some or watched some advice that was talking about on Hulk. You really kind of just want to have your space bar held down so it's always ready whenever you need it.
Yeah.
And combining that with the fact that you can do it so quick now, I was just bouncing around all over the place, slapping people a couple times, bouncing around again,
Yeah.
pulling pulling human torches out of the
Yeah, out of
air.
the sky. That was amazing. I saw that firsthand.
It was a whole lot of fun. I think I might be playing Hulk this season.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. I'm excited to play him too, especially once I get that freaking dope mobster skin that he's got. That's gonna feel really good.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to Magneto. So, just one change for him. They increased the charge cost of his ultimate ability from 3,100 to 3,400. So it takes a little bit longer for him to charge up his ult. His ult is really, really strong. His ult is a huge counter ult, especially when you consider Luna and her ult being one of the most significant in the game. Magneto is one of the ones who can shut that down. So a little again, just one change, but I don't think it's going to have too much of an effect on his viability. I think he's still going to be super dominant, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's Magneto.
Yep. Penny Parker is the buff of the century for a character that had
Woohoo!
not received one since season 0,
Yes.
and now is getting a cool skin to match the you know
Yes.
new buff. So
Take my
Penny
money.
got Cyber Web Cluster, which is her auto attack, like her main attack.
Mhm.
Now has a chance to crit, and they make it sound like if you hit a headshot, it has a chance to crit now. It's just it can crit now. Like
Yeah, yeah.
if you hit a headshot, it crits. Uh,
Right.
and they also reduced the movement speed penalty while you're firing that ability from 40% to 20%, which is similar to what they did to Hawkeye, which we'll get to later. But
Hmm.
being able to move around a lot quicker while
Yeah.
using that is huge.
Yep.
And then, why not just give her 100 extra base health?
A
Make her
hundred,
make her the highest health Vanguard in the
dude.
game.
I don't think they've done this yet. I don't, other than like getting an anchor team up buff when you haven't had
Right.
one. I don't think they've ever adjusted someone by 100 health.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to play Penny so much this season. She's already my next highest Vanguard, and man, yeah, she gonna climb.
Yeah, I played a couple penny games this week just because I couldn't resist, even though I wanted to, test out Emma, so we had something to talk about. I played a couple penny games, and she felt great. I mean, the crit, just doing extra damage, a lot easier to stay alive in the middle of things, especially when you're sitting on your webs and you're healing. It Yeah, she feels great. I think this is going to be a great season for Penny Parker.
Oh yeah, yeah. So moving on to the thing. So one change for him, they decreased his embattled leap's damage reduction effect for himself and teammates from 30% to 5%. So this is his ability that when he jumps to a teammate, he gets a shield, they get a shield. It's a 5% reduction. Interesting. This is one of those ones where I'm like, huh, didn't seem like it was that significant, and this nerf doesn't seem very significant, but I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
just one of those things.
I heard it was on someone's balance patch video. I think it was on Cozy's. Um, he was describing this as a change that most of the ladder isn't going to care about, and it's not really going to change his effectiveness for that. But apparently, at like kind of like Rocket's damage buff that we'll get to later on.
Hmm.
Apparently, at some like super high level like competitive tournament play and stuff like that, there were some character combinations where they were really heavily relying on the thing reducing someone else's damage for like an ult play or something like
Uh,
really specific
yeah,
that this is gonna make that less dominant. But I don't
right.
exactly remember
Yeah,
who it was. It might have been like Heller or Bucky or something that was
right.
just like making them unstoppable in the middle of
Yeah,
things.
that 5% will make them die instead of survive a certain encounter or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then finally we got Thor. And Thor got some extra health,
Dude.
kind of. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
increased his base health from 525 to 600, which this actually, I think he lost the team up anchor, right? So this is actually a 25 health nerf, if I remember correctly. But if you think about it in the sense that they're using the team ups to test things out, this is
Yeah.
25 less health than Thor had before. But essentially, what this means is that they got to the end of the team up and they looked at him and they went, "Yeah, Thor at 600 health seems pretty good. Let's mostly keep him there. We'll just take him down a little bit, you know."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so, okay, cool. But they also increased his base movement speed from 600 to 650. So you can run around and chase people with the Hulk if you want. And both of you are going to do it faster than they can run away.
Yeah. Yeah, super cool. I love seeing the movement speed increases. I feel like Thor saw a lot of play in the second half of last season, the second half of 1.5.
Yeah.
I wonder where his place is right now with all the other Vanguard buffs and with Emma Frost coming in too. I'm curious to see if we see his pick rate drop quite a bit, even though he's technically getting a buff. But I
Sure.
love Thor, and I hope there's still room for him on the comps. But
Yeah.
all right, let's. Oh, go ahead.
Let's pause there for a
Oh,
second. Your mic was doing like some like weird background fuzz.
oh no.
I don't know if you want to just like um, wiggle the cord or something and make sure it's not doing it anymore. But for a little while, I was getting like a.
I wonder if it's something that's coming from outside
I
since I
don't
opened
know.
the door.
No, it was a digital sound,
Hmm.
but it's not doing it anymore. But I
Okay.
figured we could just stop at the Vanguard ending, and now we can just transition in.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Cool. We're making decent time.
Yeah, we are. Oh, I should probably pause it.
We're at like 28 something. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
There's a button here to
Oh, you
add
did
30
30
seconds.
seconds. Oh, okay, okay. It's like was that the exact time that we stopped? All right. Can you hear the crickets? Like can you hear outside sound?
No.
Okay. There was a helicopter that flew overhead and I like
Oh, maybe that's
was
what it
like,
was. Maybe it like affected it somehow or something.
"Oh, well, maybe."
I don't know if that's possible, but
No. I don't know how internet works, so
yeah. I don't know that much either.
yeah. All right,
Okay.
cool. Ready?
Let's keep moving.
Kicking off the duelists. It's funny because it's with Black Widow, and she got her kick buffed. So they added a new effect where she can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer, and after using her ult as well, the Electroplasma Explosion. So, you know, I meme on our girl Black Widow in at least once every episode. This sounded
As you
like
should.
nothing to me, as I should. Yeah. This sounded like nothing to me. I actually watched a compilation of like, I don't know if I can say pro Black Widow player. I don't think there are any, but of a really good Black Widow player. No disrespect to whoever you are. Who was talking about like no, you don't understand, like this is actually really good. And I was watching her just like juggle people with kick click, like just deleting people one after another. And it was like a whole streaming thing where he was getting like he I don't know how people coordinate this, if they like do it beforehand, they know that a bunch of streamers are going to play together or whatever, but it was his perspective, and then it would show like their perspective on the other side as they're like facing up with Black Widow, and then just get instantly deleted by a shoot kick shoot. But hey, anything that makes Black Widow more interesting.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I'm down.
It's definitely a buff to her ability to survive being divin.
No.
Dived. Right, because now you can do that kick to defend yourself and then get the shot off immediately without
right.
that reload time. So
Right.
is this the Black Widow buff that will make her meta? I don't think so, but
No.
it is one that will make
No.
Black Widow players less unhappy. So that's
Yeah.
good. Well, speaking of snipers and the complete opposite problem that Black Widow has, we have Hawkeye
Yeah.
here, who's getting buffs after buffs after buffs when he's
I don't
already good.
understand, but
Yeah.
I'm so okay with it.
I'm not, but we've got Hawkeye getting a reduce of the slow effect for him charging the bow from 30% to 20%. So he can move a little bit faster while he's charging the bow, right? Or is it? It's not movement. Is it the how long the bow charges, or no? It's
movement.
It's movement. Yeah. So now he can move a little bit faster while charging the bow, which for good Hawkeye players is a buff. For me, it is a nerf because now I have to aim while moving faster, and I can't do it. Then we've got we increased the damage of hypersonic arrow, both arrows on that E ability from 50 to 55 each. So for that whole ability, if you land both of them, it's a 10 damage buff. Here's the big one though. They decreased the energy costs for his ultimate ability, Hunter's Sight, from 3,700 to 3,100.
My dear God.
Huge. And then they improved the bow draw speed increase from 1.35 times to 1.5 times. So he shoots in his ult even faster. And he gets it way more often. And I want to cry. Except that no one plays Hawkeye, so I'm okay.
Yeah. His pick rate is pretty sad, but man, I don't understand. Like, I don't get why they want people to play Hawkeye so badly, and why people don't play him more. He was so freaking dominant in season 0 and the first half of season 1. Like guys, he's even better than he was then now.
Yeah, I don't understand it, because if I remember correctly, that nerf going into season 1 for him was pretty token. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't a real hit. It was pretty light, if I remember correctly. And then they've been buffing him like crazy since then.
Right.
And yeah, we don't see him being played a ton, but we also like
he's in the bottom 5 for pick rate. He's at 2.48% across all competitive platforms. So yeah, people aren't playing him, and you freaking should.
Yeah, I tried this week because I was like, he's insane now. I need to do this. I need to be able to play Hawkeye. And then I missed like 95% my shots for the first couple
5%
minutes, and I went,
accuracy.
I'm sorry, I'm done. I can't do
No.
this.
Oh man. Well, speaking of another person who's really hard to aim with, Hella. Um, so she got some balancing, a little bit of buff, a little bit of nerf. So they increased the cooldown time from her astral flock from 12 seconds to 15 seconds. They increased the spell field damage of piercing knight from 30 to 35. They decreased the cooldown time for soul drainer from 12 to 10. So, little bit of a reduction in her mobility and her escape power, but I mean, overall, this feels more like a buff than a nerf. It's
Yeah, definitely.
definitely, yeah, definitely, yeah. So,
Yeah, they're incentivizing her with the soul drainer cooldown time reduction, and honestly, the right click getting buffed damage wise.
mhm,
It seems like this buff is incentivizing people to run away with her less and
yeah,
try
be more
to stand their
aggressive.
ground against
Yeah,
people who
right.
come up against them more, which she will still be at a disadvantage to, being like a long range poke character. So that it seems like they're kind of making her less bad at what she's supposed to be bad at in order to try to incentivize
Yeah,
people to take those fights that
yep.
they are disadvantaged in. It's an interesting set of changes.
And Hell is one of those interesting ones, for me, where I've heard a lot of pro players talk about how like a good Hella is basically the best character in the game. Like when you have someone who is really good with Hella, there's very little counterplay that you can do. And I've been glad to see that if that is true, that's only I've heard that from a couple different people. If that is true, I love seeing that they're still taking a very like delicate, intentional, soft hand with her, that they're
Mhm.
not making these like crazy huge changes based on what's happening at the top, the upper echelon of the pro players. It's they're still keeping the people
Right,
in
yeah.
mind with these balance changes. So yeah.
Cool. Um, Human Torch. Human Torch. They say his attack, feedback, and survivability are being improved to enhance his impact across various combat scenarios. They're trying to make him just kind of a little bit better overall, and I think they've done it. Uh, the first thing they did is they reduced the attack interval for his main ability, left click fire cluster, from 0.6 seconds to zero point 0.5 seconds. And
Mm,
they specifically mentioned that the launch timing of the projectile has been advanced. So they're trying to say like they didn't take time off of the recovery. They took time off of the windup, right? So
yeah.
he will shoot it sooner. Um, this was a big note that people had when he came out, that his left click kind of felt chunky, like just the animation felt long to try to get the damage out there, and it like kind of
Right.
was in a weird spot where you would actually throw it. So I have played him, I think, in one game, and he felt a lot better. It felt a lot easier to hit
Oh,
with him. So
that's
this
good.
is a good change. And then the other one they did, Flaming Meteor, where he dives, down onto the ground, attacks
Hmm.
everyone. They increased the cooldown from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, because they added a new effect to it,
Yeah,
where after he uses it, he'll immediately gain 75 bonus health, which will
dude.
start to fall off 3 seconds later at a rate of 30 per second.
Very cool adjustment.
Yes. So now, this one ability that felt very unconnected from the rest of what he was doing,
Hmm.
because it makes you just go straight into melee range with everyone
Yeah.
and then have to slowly fly your way back out, because what am I supposed to be doing down here?
Right.
Now he gets to be aggressive and because he's a 250, right? So he's going to be at 325 for a little bit during that, and be able to just sit down there and shotgun fire to the face for people for a little bit
Yeah.
after hitting them with the meteor.
This is such a core part of his kit, and I still like. I see a decent amount of Human Torch players. I never see them use this. It just doesn't get a lot of play. I see most Human Torches just sitting way up in the sky, which is also not what his kit is designed for. His primary attack's not going to be doing that much damage from super far away, so this gives him what he needs to be more viable. Because I still think, I stand by what I said in the original Human Torch analysis, where I think he's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, he's hot, but anyway. Well, another flyer, Iron Man, which is kind of in the same vein as Hawkeye for me, like buffs all around, making him harder to hit. He's already a flyer. He's already fast. He's already pretty petite, but they slightly reduced his hitbox.
Petite little Iron Man.
Petite little billionaire philanthropist playboy Iron Man. We've seen a hitbox change in the game.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's another lever that they have. Interesting that we see it first with Iron Man. I wonder where this comes from.
Well, speaking of wondering where this comes from, they call it out in the note that they slightly reduced Iron Man's hitbox size, and
Mhm.
from what I've seen from people showing like differences of them attacking Iron Man,
Yeah.
it is incredibly slight, which makes me kind of wonder like why. Like,
Huh.
I wonder if it was just like someone. I mean, this is not legitimate analysis here, but there's the game developer part of me that's like someone was just looking at his hitbox visually in the editor and was really annoyed that it like didn't line up perfectly with something, and we're just like, I'm just gonna fix this, like.
Yeah.
You
Well,
move it like 2 pixels, but it makes you
put it
feel
in the
better. I
patch
don't know.
notes. Call it a day.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a buff.
We have to mention it because it did change. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
that
seems
might
like it's
be.
pretty slight though.
Right. Well, what is not very slight or minor is a whole new feature for his armor overdrive or gamma if you're playing with the gamma bros. Getting 100 bonus health um, starts to fall off 5 seconds later at a rate of 30 per second. So same kind of deal as Human Torch. I like giving flyers more kind of like mid-range combat viability, but 100 bonus health is crazy, and especially when it's on an ability like Armor Overdrive, where you're using it every single time you have it. Essentially,
Hmm.
Human Torch, that 75 health, you still have to find the right opportunity to dive, but like you want 100% uptime on Armor Overdrive, so you're going to be getting that 100 bonus health a lot, which
Yeah,
is crazy.
I think he's gonna feel pretty nasty this season. I'm excited
Yep.
to try him out next time there's a
Yeah.
Hulk.
Good. More incentive for the Gamma Bros. More incentive for my Namor Gamma Puss.
Yep. Well, Iron Fist got some changes too. I'm gonna read the note they have here because there's quite a few changes here, so I want to explain what they're thinking. They say Lin Lee will see an increase in his combat effectiveness against vanguards, a slight improvement in his mobility, and a slight reduction to his survivability when first entering the battlefield. So, starting with that survivability hit, they reduce the max bonus health that you get from the Harmony recovery, where he, soups himself up before going in, from 150 to 100. But they slowed the fall off rate of that health from 25 per second to 15 per second. So
Yeah, dang.
he'll have that health for longer in a sustained fight, but he's not going to come in uh, at tank levels of health to
Yeah,
start
yeah.
those fights. And then they say that they lowered the fixed damage of his main attack from 10 to 9, but they increased the percentage damage of the enemy's max health per strike from 1.7 to 2.1. So they are
Yeah.
trying to aim him more at taking out vanguards, which is a change that they introduced for him
Yeah.
in season 1.5. This was a feature that they added to this ability at all. And I kind of agree with this change that it didn't really feel like he was someone that you wanted to attack tanks with. Still felt
Yeah.
like you wanted to go after the squishies and destroy them. So
Right.
this hopefully will make him more of a tank killer like
Yeah.
Wolverine, like they're hoping for.
And half
And
a
then
percent, like that's nothing to sneer at when you're talking about
yeah,
percent health. So
for sure. Um, yeah, I mean 2% of 600 is, oh gosh, am I doing this to
oh
myself?
no, what have you done?
I shouldn't do this
You're
to
locked
myself.
in now, boy.
It's like it's like 12 extra health per attack, and
Go after him in the
attacking
comments.
he's attacking like 8 or 9 times a second, right? I mean, like it's super fast. So I think that's going to be pretty gross.
Yeah.
And then finally, his kick, the cooldown for the kick was reduced from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. So he's going to be able to fly across the map and kick someone that much more often.
Yeah. Iron Fist is one of those characters where I'm glad you keep covering him every time there's an update, by the way.
It's
But
always a lot of notes.
yeah, yeah, he's also one of those characters that um not one of. He's kind of like the only one where I feel like a couple months before launch, they flipped a coin where they're like, should he be a Vanguard or should he be a duelist? Because there's been like so much modification to his like survivability and like who they want him to fight and whatnot. Yeah, I still feel like he's really strong against, like you said, against duelists and squishies and stuff. But
Yeah, well,
speaking
we'll see
of,
if this changes that. But speaking of lots of
yeah,
patch notes, go ahead.
yeah, notes and wannabe tanks. Mr. Fantastic. So, yeah, pushing him further into the tank field. So they increased his base health from 350 to 375, closing the gap. They boosted the damage of his stretch punch from 60 to 65 and from 75 to 80 while in his big old thick inflated state. And then flexible elongation has a new effect. So enemies within range now suffer a 35% slow effect. And then they reduced the flexible elongation cooldown time from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. This is disgusting. And then they reduced the elasticity gained from elastic strength, his passive, from 30 to 20, while the elasticity provided by stretch punch is increased from 5 to 8. And then after entering the inflated state, the bonus health provided to the self has been reduced from 450 to 400. So a few different things here, but the main takeaway is they've increased his health moment to moment, and they've decreased the like overall tankiness that he has here when he gets in that inflated state. But I think that he's going to be able to do it more often because his punches are giving him more to it. I don't play
I'm
him
not
enough to really
sure.
know how this balances out with the
So
reduction
what
and the increase.
this changes the micro for playing Mr. Fantastic a lot because
Mm,
your abilities used to do 30, which is a huge chunk, right? And
yeah.
so you could pop 3 abilities really, really quick in rapid succession and then just punch a couple times and you were in.
Mm,
And so like people would hover around 90 and stuff like there are all sorts of things that they would do to be able to go inflated whenever they wanted and avoid doing it too early and all this kind of stuff. And
mm,
now they're going to completely have to relearn all that. But also like you can't just
okay.
burst yourself into inflated anymore really quickly. So this is I'm not sure if this is a good thing for him or a nerf for him, but
Yeah,
it's
I see.
definitely something that's going to take some time for people to adjust
Yeah,
to.
to readjust. Okay. Interesting.
My thoughts are that it's attempting to be a nerf mostly because of the next well, it's attempting to make you like rely on inflated state a little bit less mostly because of the next change.
Yeah, so when his final thing, when Mr. Fantastic uses his ultimate, Brainiac Bounce, he immediately gains the bonus health equal to that gained when entering the inflated state. So basically, he's less easy to kill when he's in his ultimate form.
Yeah, and I mean gaining that much health, that's 400 health you're gaining when you're going into that. So that's a lot more than the Scarlet Witch bonus health for her ult and stuff like that. Um
Oh, is that how you read that? I read that
yeah,
as he gains from 375 to 400.
no, you gain 400 health.
I mean, my bad. That's right. Yeah, see, yeah, I don't play Mr. Fantastic.
No, it's gross. I've seen a lot more Mr. Fantastic in this week than I had
Right.
previously, and his ult now, like you can't just before you just kill him, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they were trying to just stay in inflated and not really use their ult unless they absolutely had to, and now like they're actually using his ult as soon as they have it because he's just as impossible to kill in that now, and he's bouncing around. Like you have no hope, so it's
Yeah.
just about whether he can land it enough times.
Yeah, dang.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
I think this is a really good set of changes for Mr. Fantastic, and I think people need to, if they dismissed him when they probably rightfully should have. Now I think you need to take a minute and reconsider and try him again because this is kind of a rework for him, really.
Yeah, wow. Well, I hear you. And I'm interested with his read work. Uh,
Wow.
yeah.
All right, Moon Knight. Um, Moon Knight got quite a bit of changes too, and he feels
Yeah.
really good in this patch.
Mm,
So they first off they increased his just his regular projectile. They increased its speed from 120 meters a second to 150 meters a second, which is great. That's kind of the like fast projectile speed when you're not a hit scan. So they
yeah.
brought him up to that. He's not kind of slowly lobbing things at people anymore. That makes a big difference. And then his Moonblade, his right click, got a new effect.
Yeah.
He gains 25 bonus health with each enemy that he hits, up to a max of 100. 3 seconds after the bonus health stops increasing, it will start to fall off at a rate of 20 per second. So now he's got a way to increase his survivability by holding his right click, using his right click. If you do it on an Ankh, the Ankh bounces count. So
Dang.
if you just pop the Ankh down between two people and let it rip, you're gonna get 3 hits pretty consistently and give yourself 75 bonus health. And you can do that pretty frequently. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
nice change.
that's nasty. I'm noticing a lot of survivability creep in this
Yeah.
patch. They're wanting their duelists to stay in the fight longer, and potentially I don't know if they're encouraging like more aggressive play or if they're just kind of like reacting to some of what they've seen of duelists getting shutting down too easily.
Yeah, what's interesting is that when we get to the strategists, they were talking about how the Adam and Loki nerfs were about trying to keep battles from dragging out for a really long time. And
Yeah,
I
but
wonder if they were just feeling like, we talked when the game launched or in our first couple episodes about how the strategists in this game are all really powerful.
yeah.
And I kind of wonder if they're sort of just kind of slowly trying to balance that rollout a little bit.
No, don't.
Um, yeah, because you got all these duelists getting abilities to give them self health, give themselves
Yeah,
some survivability for a time,
yeah.
while they're taking the massive burst healing out of some of the strategists. But Moon Knight has a
Right.
couple more changes still. um, his hook, they sped up the startup time on the pole from 0.4 seconds to 0.15 seconds after it hits. So now essentially, like blink once he actually hits a wall with the hook, and you're in the air.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great for escaping.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's fantastic. And then finally, the ult got another rework. Um, so they're extending the duration of his ultimate ability, Hand of Khonshu, from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. And they're increasing the number of talons that are generated during this period from 14 to 18, which you should read that as a big damage buff, right? It's
Yeah.
going longer, and there's more instances of getting hit with 120 with each hit or whatever. It says additionally, the fall speed of the talons has been slightly enhanced, so they don't want you dodging them as easily. However,
Undoing what they did last time.
yeah. However, to compensate for all of that, there is now a damage fall off mechanic for the spell field. It says beginning at 1.5 meters from the center and reaching a maximum reduction of 70% at 5 meters. So I believe the 5 meter is the radius of the spell field.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but so that
That sounds
basically
right.
means you really need to hit them in the middle.
Hmm.
Um, and the outsides now are really for you launch it on someone directly in the middle and it will almost kill them, and then hopefully one snags them on the way out while they're running out, but it's not going to be this big wide area damage for just like hitting 6 people at one time that it was in season 1.
Yeah. I still Moon Knight has been I think he's been the best example to me of just like how crazy their balancing ability is with all of the levers that they have. I'm so glad that you used that visual the first time we talked about this, because it's like I've just never seen stuff like this. It's always like these kinds of updates are always like damage of ult gone from 1000 to 900, or like
Mhm.
those kinds of just flat numerical things. But like this ult has been mechanically reworked like 3 times now,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. I just the fact that they can do all of this is very, very cool and very encouraging that the game is going to stay really balanced and fun.
Yeah, it means that
So
they're able to balance with a scalpel instead of a
yep,
sledgehammer. Like
yep,
they're able to do a lot of really surgical changes, so
yeah.
it's good.
So Scarlet Witch now. So some cool changes here. They removed Chaos Control's percent damage while increasing her fixed damage from 60 per second to 80 per second. So, um, I I never saw her played as a like tank buster.
Yeah.
That never seemed to make sense. So I think this is great. Just making her specialize more into her ability to delete lower health characters. That's awesome.
Caveat for all these changes is she's losing a 15% damage buff from being a team
Mm,
up anchor.
yeah,
So a lot of these damage buffs that you're going to hear really kind of amount to things just kind of staying the same um, from what
that's
we were
true.
expecting in season one. So like this 60 seconds to 80 a second, um, apparently this on most characters the 60 a second last time was really somewhere around like 70, and because of the team up buff, and
Mm,
then so essentially you're getting a little bit of, from what I've heard, you're getting a little bit of a nerf on damage against vanguards and a little bit of a buff against squishies, but it's mostly like
yeah, it flattens out.
keeping it even. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. Um, increased Chthonian burst projectile damage from 35 to 40 and spell field damage from 35 to 40. So yeah, probably again just like flattening that out. Increases the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 to 10 seconds and reduced phase state time from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So um, that is her invulnerability ability, the where she's able to become the little red orb and fly around. So that's just a straight up nerf on that. And
Yeah.
then they reworked the slow effect of reality erasure to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately with a linear increase to 35%, 35% slow over 3.5 seconds. So very, very cool. I brought up last time how when we covered Scarlet Witch, how I feel like a lot of people whiff her because they don't realize how much of a movement speed decrease they get hit with when you start it.
Hmm.
And so they start it too early, and then everybody runs away. This is really cool to be able to initiate that with her ult faster. So I think that's sweet.
Yeah, if you look at it now, you actually get quite a bit further than you did with the old
Yeah,
ult, right? Because of this change. So you still have to watch out for the slow effect, but um, yeah, it's not gonna hit you immediately,
yeah,
which is great. I think for me, this change is kind of the damage things are mostly a wash, but it is nice to be able to take out squishies a little bit faster. Um, the survivability hit from her Mystic Projection nerf or Neath, as we were saying earlier, that one
oh great,
hurts quite a bit, and we're gonna have to adjust to that if we're playing Scarlet Witch. I think that's gonna get like Scarlet Witch mains killed a lot in the early
mm,
weeks as they're used to, having a phase that they don't have all of a sudden because it's on a longer cooldown, or uh, being able to survive something and they accidentally hit it a little bit too early and don't survive the ult or whatever it is.
yeah,
But the ult change I think is a huge quality of life and just buff to that ultimate. So
for
I
sure,
think that'll be
for
good.
sure.
Star Lord. Last season he had we added his
Yeah,
gave him extra movement fuel for no reason.
for why?
Yeah, this time he's getting a pretty big nerf.
Yeah,
So his spinning damage ability, the Blaster Barrage, the damage is going down from 80 a second to 75. But the real hit here
yeah.
is they're introducing a damage fall off to it, starting from 4 meters and maxing out at 80% at 8 meters.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so
Everybody
in
who's caught a stray from Star-Lord freestyle breakdancing across the map,
yeah,
rejoice.
Yeah, in the tournaments that they had a couple weeks ago, there was a huge combo that was happening every game with Magneto and Star-Lord, where basically Magneto would bubble a Star-Lord who would just go into the enemy team right in the middle and use this ability. And because it did so much damage, he wouldn't be trying to kill anyone, but it would just charge his ult at a ridiculous rate. And so I
Yeah.
kind of wonder if this is really more about reducing his ult charge than it is about reducing his kill potential, because when you're using this to kill someone, it's because someone's like right on top of you, and the damage fall off won't matter that much. But
But doing 20 damage instead of 80 damage is a big difference, though.
Oh, it's huge difference.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
at point blank, when you're just chasing down one person, like you're
yeah,
not going to
yeah,
get
yeah.
that fall off. But it does reduce your ability to go into a team that's low, and
Yes,
confirm on all of that. So I think this
right.
is a pretty big hit to Star Lord.
Yeah, same, same. Um, Speaking of some hits, Winter Soldier. So he got some. I think needed balancing. They increased the cooldown time for Bionic Hook from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. Oof, that's a big
Yeah,
50% increase in that cooldown. But they also reduced the base damage of Kraken Impact, his ultimate, from 100 to 80, but lower the culling threshold from 20% of maximum health to 15%.
which
So
which
his
is also
his
worse.
exec huh?
Which is also worse because the way his culling threshold works is if they get down to that percentage, they automatically die, right? So now that it's at 15% instead of 20, you have to do 5% more damage before they'll automatically die. Um, so they used the word "but" there, which made it sound like it
Huh?
was making it better, but it's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
just a
yeah.
nerf to that too.
Oh, is that? I mean, the math makes sense, but I wonder if they worded, is the but wrong, or did they word something else wrong?
I think the "but"
Because
is
it.
wrong because
Hmm,
looking at it side by side, you can see
yeah.
that
Okay.
the little line that shows up on the people that he's hit is further to the left. So you
Okay.
have to do
Gotcha.
more
Gotcha.
damage to kill them, and you're doing less damage to begin with. So this is a pretty big hit to his ult.
Yeah.
I, d- I think the people who are getting six in a row, I think I said this last week, the people who are getting six in a row with this are
Yeah.
still going to be getting six in a row with this, but
For
it means
sure.
that you're not going to get much value out of the ult when you're using it poorly. Like
Yeah.
if you're just going at someone who's at full health and then you have to take them all the way down, it's going to be quite a bit harder to do that. 5% of their health and 20 more damage to do that, which is
Yeah.
a big change.
Indeed. But he's still so versatile and
Yeah,
so
he'll
good
still
in
be super
so
good.
many different team comps. But this paired with his loss of infinite ammo from Rocket's team up, who knows? He gets Cap's team up now, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, and then our last duelist, we got Wolverine, and they say, so they, this is going to be a weird one to read. So the rage that he gets is being tuned in a whole bunch of different ways. So for his Savage Claw hits, he gains 10 rage now instead of 7, and uh, that's his regular attack. So they're boosting how much rage he gets from every regular attack, but then from pretty much every other source, they're nerfing it. So the rage gain from Berserk Claw Strike has been decreased from 7 to 5. Rage gain from Feral Leap from 20 to 10, and Vicious Rampage from 20 to 15. And then they say, however, rage gain from taking damage has been increased from 3 to 5. So you're gonna get the rage a lot more from just existing and attacking people as
Hmm.
Wolverine, but you can't use a bunch of abilities to combo it up really fast.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's gonna take a while. To me, what I think this is gonna do is it's gonna mean that he has to kind of ramp up, kind of like Emma Frost does, where at the
Yeah.
beginning of the fight he can't just already be at 100.
Right. Right. And I mean, this aligns with, if that's kind of the general philosophy they're going for, it makes sense with what they did with Mr. Fantastic too, that they don't want you to be able to just like pop a bunch of abilities and get your big scary passive going
Right.
right off the bat.
Yeah. And then there's one other change here. They reduced the time that you're knocked down when you get hit by his ultimate. When he lands on you with his ultimate, from 1 second to like 3/4 of a second. Um, so I mean that's a hit to his ultimate, and I'm sure Wolverine players are gonna feel that.
Yeah.
When the few times I've played him, I haven't felt like I'm gunning for I want this knockdown is why I'm using his ult, but
Mm.
I'm sure that at better levels of play that is what you're trying to do, and this is probably a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like to think about from, 0.75 seconds down from 1 second doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put it in the perspective of like a 25% nerf
Right.
to that aspect, it makes it, the people who are really skilled enough to make the most out of each quarter second are unhappy right now. But speaking of being unhappy, let's move on to the strategists, where we kick off with my second biggest loser of the season, Adam Warlock, who is neck and neck with Doctor Strange. Who knows? I might change my mind right freaking now. Reading it's pissing me off. Increase the cooldown for Soul Bond from 30 seconds to freaking 40 seconds, gang. Man, that is gonna be felt for sure. And then his Karmic Revival ultimate, so now restores 30% of a fallen ally's maximum health instead of a fixed 100% health. So we talked about this last week too. This maybe is a little bit of a buff for being revived as a Vanguard, and of a nerf for being revived as a squishy. But all in all, it's
It's definitely more of a buff to Vanguards than it is a nerf to squishies, because you're not going much below 100. And for the Vanguards, you're getting like 200.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's true.
It's not really hurting his ult. But you got to make.
Thanks for trying to level me out.
Yeah. But sadly, you got to make him be better at reviving people when they're gonna die more often. So
I know the Soul Bond 42nd art, man. We're right there with Doctor Strange again, pushing into that portal cooldown territory. But it is what it is.
All right, well, Cloak and Dagger are trying to keep their award for the most adjusted ability by once again having our Cloak and Dagger ultimate ability balance change for the season. We've got with their ult, the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. Instead, they'll remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point they'll all be removed together. I think this is a great change.
Yeah,
it's just easier to track. It's easier to figure out what's going on. It is a buff to it. And yeah, it's good. Apparently, in the preview server, it was bugged and it wasn't actually even working. I don't know if anyone's verified that it is working now in game. But I had heard that they were having issues testing it because it wasn't actually working on the preview streams that all the streamers got. But when it's working, and I'm sure it's working now. I'm sure they fixed it. This is a great change for them. Their ult keeps getting better. Nice.
Invisible Woman has one of my favorite texts that they use. It reminds me of so when you sell a home and it's really small, you don't call it small, you call it quaint. Or when it has when it needs a lot of work, you don't say busted piping, you say fixer upper.
Yeah.
And they say, we'll be fine-tuning Susan's protective capabilities to create a more strategic gameplay experience. What that means is that they've nerfed the value of her Guardian Shield from 300 to 250.
Yeah. We don't want you constantly having the ceiling bubble sitting up, so...
Yeah. Be more strategic with how you use it.
Yeah, this is a nerf, but it's not a big one, and she's still fantastic. Loki is the other one getting a hit to his burst healing. It's not as big as Adam Warlock. It says his regeneration. I'm starting to lose the ability to speak. His regeneration domain, the cooldown is going from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. So that's his crystals. Little bit longer between those.
Yeah. So this is one of the best abilities in the game. The reason why Loki is generally considered to be an S tier in upper ranks and pro league. One of the main reasons is this, because it's a mini Luna ult. So being able to do it less definitely does matter. But yeah, 5 seconds, it doesn't feel super crazy to me. this is one of those abilities too that you're really not using it every single time you get it off cooldown. You need to be strategic with your placement and when you pop it anyway. So I really don't feel like this is going to have a whole lot of impact on
Yeah,
him. But
yeah,
but who
it'll
knows?
take him down like statistically across all the games that he's being played. It'll take him down a peg, but it's not ruining the ability because like you said, it's like the best ability in the game. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
making it slightly less the best ability in the game is not gonna ruin Loki.
yeah.
Uh,
But bringing
yeah,
things up to some of the best feeling abilities in the game now, potentially Mantis. They do reduce her base health from 275 to 250, but huge effects of healing flower and allied inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds. Uh, this is a lot of consistency
yeah,
out of Mantis's heal and her damage buff. Like this is really really big. I think I keep going back and forth thinking of like different scenarios for like which one is bigger to be able to have that heal going for 16 seconds or that damage for 16 seconds. I think ultimately I'm landing on that damage buff being live for 16 seconds with like really good DPSs is going to be absolutely freaking disgusting. This allows people to completely reposition
yep,
and like you can buff flankers now. Before that wasn't like really a big viable thing from what I have seen and experienced playing Mantis, but like this just really expanded her viability on a bunch of different team comps. Like now I feel like you're more justified in going with her in like any kind of comp rather than the more like specific ones that she was good with before.
yeah. This is pretty big. I played one game as Mantis to test this out, and it was a completely different experience. Like this is one of those things where it seems like such a small change, but they like it feels like a character rework because
Yeah.
um in the experience of playing it, like again, it was like, oh, there's a Psylocke and a Spider-Man. I'm gonna hit them, but I have the 4 charges. I'm gonna hit them both with the damage boost and go, my children, have fun. I'll
Yep.
see you. I'll see you after school. That like they that 16 seconds is a really long time. And just to be clear, for anyone listening, it is the duration that can stack. It doesn't stack
Yeah. Yeah. Not the right.
effectiveness.
Right.
So you're still not going to with the heal. You're still not going to burst heal anyone. You can't just like dump all of them on someone and have it heal them instantly. However, I was now at a point when I was playing that game where, unlike before, um, if I had a Vanguard nearby, I was just gonna throw a bunch on them until they were at 16 seconds and just let them go for a while. And I knew
Yep.
like for that long, like for a quarter of a minute, I don't have to think about the Vanguard because I can't do anything else to them
Yeah.
other than top them off.
Right. Right.
I can do other things, right? And so they mentioned that their little note at the top of this is to emphasize strategy over speed. We're modifying this, and that's exactly how it felt. Before
Yeah.
Mantis felt like a frantic, like get as many headshots and
Yep.
just throw things places and don't think
Right.
about it. And this now all of a sudden I felt like a strategist, and I
Yeah.
came out of that game for the first time probably ever on a Mantis game. And I've played a decent amount of Mantis. I came out with the most healing out of everyone in the game, which was just because there was constant healing uptime now.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
so consistent now, where before it
Right.
felt very bursty.
Yeah.
But bursty at like no burst. Like I
Yep.
don't know how to
Yeah.
describe
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I 100% agree. Like that it gives you the space to farm those headshots now,
Hmm.
where like
Yeah.
you have the uptime on your, on the characters that need it, and you can actually go for the headshots. And yeah, like you said, you're not having to constantly worry about, okay, I gotta throw another one up now. All right, I gotta throw another one up now. Like it's gonna make, yeah. You said it. You said it perfectly, I think. And
Yeah. I
I
mean, that's the
can't
biggest
wait to
thing.
play her.
You can think now and then dump them all and then
Yeah.
recharge them and then think
Yep.
and dump them all and recharge
Yep.
them rather than it just being like every time one is up, I got to get it out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that made playing her really stressful.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
yeah. So I'm excited to have a calmer, more strategic experience. And hey, it's not being used as a buzzword this time.
Right.
It's really true.
Yeah.
So, well,
Finally, for,
closing off.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is yours.
This
Sorry.
is mine. Yeah, it is. Here we're good. We're deep into this at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Closing out, we got Rocket Raccoon. So Rocket got quite a bit of a rework here too.
Yeah.
They had quite a few characters that they didn't just do minor changes to. They really rethought them quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Rocket here is probably the biggest example of that.
Yep.
So they decreased the healing area of his heal from 70 health a second to 50 health a second. Um, this is a weird phrasing. What they mean is that the heal over time from the area heal of his
Yeah.
spheres has been reduced. But then they added a new effect of a one-time healing of 55 health to any allies that get hit by it. Uh, so they added some burst healing onto his heal, which is great. And then the other thing they did here is this is another weird phrase: projectile speed reduction increased from 4.5 meters a second to 7 meters a second. So what this means is it's slower now when it hits a ally. So these things are going to travel now the speed that they were at. Then they will hit an ally and do instant healing now that they didn't do before. And then they will slow down even further and stay on that character, essentially giving them more healing over time, even though it's doing less healing over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So just like with in Overwatch, if you think of Moira's healing ball that you could throw out, it slows down when it gets in proximity to enemies. So you don't even have to hit them directly with Rocket for it to slow down. It's just
right.
once it reaches that proximity, it slows down even more.
Yeah. So this is definitely a massive healing buff. You're
Yeah.
not just going to be throwing them out randomly as much now.
Yep.
Now you're actually encouraged to try to hit people with them.
Yes.
I think it's great. I think it's great. It makes them more interesting
Same.
and it makes them more powerful on healing.
Same.
In order to make up for that, or just to make up for people being annoyed, they extended the cooldown for his dashes from 6 seconds to 10 seconds per charge, which is quite an increase.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they reduced how far he actually dashes from 10 meters to 8 meters. So he's not just going to be flying all over the place
Right.
anymore. And he's probably going to be climbing walls a bit more, which is an ability that Rocket has, and is not one that you see as often because people are just jetpack jumping up things. But
Yeah.
not so much anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah. This was kind of just like whenever I would play Rocket, there was never a moment where I didn't have a dash like ready
Yeah.
to go, and it was just such an easy get out of jail. Like I could be very stupid and put myself in positions that I shouldn't, and be like, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. I have all of these charges, and they're going to come back immediately. So
Yeah.
it's as a Rocket, for all you Rocket players, like of course it's a nerf, but it actually feels like, yeah, this makes sense why they would do this.
It does. And speaking as a DPS main, like whenever there was a Rocket on the enemy team as
Yeah.
magic or a melee character or something like that, I was just like, well, what's the point? He always has 2 dashes. He's gonna go everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah, yeah.
ignoring him this whole game. And now it's like, okay, you can actually run him out of those resources, which is good.
He can bleed.
Yeah. The final change is a big rework to his ultimate
Cool
ability.
baby. Mm-hmm.
So they're reducing the damage boost from 40% to 25%, but they're adding a new effect to make up for that. So during the ability's duration, any allies that are within, are linked to it, they're within that area, are going to receive an additional 100 bonus health per second, but it caps at 150. But so it's going to regen the whole time you're in there at 100 a second. And then after the link is broken, which I think means, when you go out of line of sight or when the ability ends, then the bonus starts to fall off after a second at 75 bonus health per second. So you get 2 seconds, after 1 second, it'll decay for 2 seconds, basically.
Yeah.
And then they're increasing the energy cost from 3,700 to 4,000 to make up for this new ability that they're adding to it.
The conversation around this has been really weird.
It's
to me.
fascinating, yeah.
Yeah. So like the whole time that this game has existed, uh, only a very, very small minority of players have talked about how good Rocket's ult can be. Most people I've heard have been talking about like, boo, play somebody with a defensive ult.
Right.
Um, Now that that's happened, and and the devs clearly view this as a buff. If for no other reason than they increased the amount of ult charge needed by 300. Um, Now I see all of those people coming out of the woodworks and talking like uh, they're upset that it's like, oh man, like the amplifier was like such a unique thing, like that damage buff made such a big difference, and now it's just like kind of a worse version of Luna with like I'm just gonna say I don't buy that at all. I think this is really cool, and I think that we're gonna see some like huge playmaking potential. It's just gonna be more. You're gonna be able to pop this more often and feel more viable. I'm excited for this change. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation has been really complex because the change is really complex. Like,
Yeah,
um, so his damage boost previously was Luna's damage boost, but his ult was only Luna's damage boost and in one location that couldn't move. Where Luna, if you played her as a rocket ult, was a moving one of these.
yeah,
However, people would use it at high level play to create like really crazy one hit kill combos and
yeah,
stuff like that. So like I understand the people who were using it that way being
yeah,
really
yeah,
upset that it's 25% now, because now they're saying like, look, yeah, there's some
yeah.
healing, but it's not nearly as much as Luna's
But
and
my
it doesn't
Venom can't
move
one hit,
and my
and
Venom
my
can't one hit.
Namor
Right.
can't one hit, and yeah,
Yeah, so that's really interesting. But, on the flip side, like uh yeah, there's been some people complaining that were previously saying like play a support ult, right? And so it's like, well, now he is a
yeah,
support ult, but he's kind of lost his uniqueness, but just kind of gained more like general applicability. I gotta say though, in game though, it's felt really good because you have a rocket who's pumping out tons of healing, and then now like his ult is also sort of a circle die. It's not quite as big as the true lifeline ults, but it
yeah.
is enough that it's really hard because of how fast it regenerates. It is
Yep.
really hard to break through that thing.
Right. Well,
So
and like comparing to Luna's ult, Luna can't do anything while
that's
she's
fair.
ulting.
Rocket's still
She
doing
just
things.
moves
That's the
around.
difference. Yeah.
And that I think is another reason why this is so exciting. Like because now, he can pick, do damage, do healing, like however you want to stack up. That combined with his insanely honestly increased nuke like burst healing potential. I think this ult is really gross. I think Rocket is already one of the best supports in the game. He's already super fun to play. I think this is just making him even better. All of these changes to me just make me want to play Rocket more.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. It seems like they're making him even more effective moment to moment than he already was, and he already
yeah,
was incredibly effective. And in
yeah,
return, they're just making sure he dies more often. So it's going to be a little bit more punctuated,
yeah,
than it was before, where Rocket was just constantly doing things. So it'll be interesting
right.
to see how it plays out. But Rocket definitely is going to still be up there.
Yep, 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 yep. Well, that's it for the balance changes. All we have left here are the team ups. Now we did cover these in last episode, so we'll get through these relatively quickly.
Yeah,
But to kick it off, the Arcane Order, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch. So we'll go through the new team ups here. So Doctor Strange got the anchor bonus, so he gets that maximum health increase of 100, improving his survivability there. And then Scarlet Witch gets that super sweet looking magical mystic burst with Doctor Strange. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a chance to use it. I haven't played Witch yet, but very cool.
yeah. And Doctor Strange at 700 health is pretty beefy. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's definitely worth it.
Yep.
Um, Her ability looks pretty insane. Being able to just do a ton of damage with that, it gives her that burst that she's needed. Um, I'm really excited to try this more. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the opportunity to use it yet, so I don't have too much to say on it. But It looks like it's going to be pretty fun if you can find a Doctor Strange this season. Uh, so we've got Captain America and Winter Soldier's new team up as well. It's called Stars Aligned. And first off, it's just awesome that these two are getting a team up together. It needed
Yes.
to happen. Here it is. But Captain America is going to be the team up anchor, and he gains a maximum health increase of 100 and a 5% damage boost in damage output. That
Yeah.
5% damage boost for Cap is going to be a big deal. Uh,
Yeah. I
so
actually
this
didn't know
is,
about that part of it.
yeah, I mean, they just sprinkled it in on top of him getting a bunch of health, which I think is mostly because they nerfed him to compensate for the health. But that 5% damage boost is going to be important this season. And then Winter Soldier gets the Stellar Impact ability, where he can leap towards an ally, kind of like the Thing, but he does a slow effect. Or no, he doesn't do a slow effect. He does it when he does it with Cap. He does damage around him when he does it. So it's a really good
Mhm.
peeling tool. I haven't been Winter Soldier in a game with Cap yet to try it out, but I'm excited about that. And then Cap and Winter Soldier can also do the 3-part handshake, hit C. They hit C, that whole thing, to jump together instead, land in the middle between them, do damage, and do slow in
Yeah.
addition. So
Yep. Yep. Then we have Mental Projection, Emma Frost's anchor with Psylocke and Magneto. So Emma Frost gains that maximum health of 100, which is putting her at 650 right now. And then Magneto gets the Magnetic Resonance, and Psylocke gets the Soul Resurgence. So this is where they push a button and they create a clone of themselves that copies all of the same abilities, movements, skills, auto attack, whatever. We don't yet know, again, what the percentage is. Like, they have the exact same health. I actually don't know on that one. I know that they do less damage. I assume that their abilities are the same. I'm not sure.
yeah,
There's a lot that needs to be figured out here still, but very, very cool. I think going to see a lot of play across all levels.
yeah, and it's certainly disorienting when this happens on the other team, because you disappear and then you appear in two places
Yeah,
adjacent to where you were, and even just playing the whack-a-mole trying to figure out who you're supposed to
dude.
be attacking is
Yeah.
is worth it. I mean, it's a nice button to stay alive if nothing else.
I want so badly to play as see Loki, Magneto, Emma Frost, and Psylocke all together, and just absolutely mess up the enemies. That would be super sick.
So we've also got 3 team ups that lost characters, but the team up is still active this season. Those would be the ammo overload with Rocket Raccoon. Winter Soldier is no longer a part of that, and it is just Rocket and the Punisher that are doing that infinite ammo now. Then we've got Chilling Charisma, Luna Snow's team up. Uh, it's just going to be Luna and Jeff now for the Ice team up, and Namor has been removed from that to make space for him joining the Gamma Bros, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Dimensional Shortcut, the Magic Psylocke Black Panther team up is now just Magic and Black Panther because Psylocke has moved on to that team up with Emma Frost that we talked about.
Yeah, and then the Gamma Bros. So Doctor Strange has left the building, and Namor is the new member of the Blessed Brotherhood. So yeah, I mean, I talked about this already. It's incredible. Him having this team up is so freaking good. This combined with Hulk's buffs, Iron Man's buffs. I hope we see this get a lot of play, just because this combo is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, when you consider the Gamma Puss as a buff, which it definitely is, I think we
yeah,
can confidently say that now that it's better than the Ice one.
yes,
It's useful for different things, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, all 3 of the characters in this team up got massive buffs this season.
Hmm.
This team up is amazing, and Gamma Bros was already pretty good. They had to nerf it quite a few times before, so the new one I think is even better than the old one was. Play it
Yeah,
while you can.
yeah. And then to close it off, so Metallic Chaos, the Scarlet Witch Magneto, and Voltaic Union, Thor, Captain America, Storm. Those are just straight up deleted. Those team ups don't exist in any way, shape, or form anymore. So sorry to Magneto with the swords, and to Captain America and Storm with the extra lightning abilities. All of those were super cool. I think the Magneto one especially, but hey, Magneto's getting something really cool with Emma Frost team up, and Captain America with his anchor buff, and team up with Bucky too is also really neat. So Storm and Thor are kind of the only ones that just straight up lost from this.
Yeah,
But
but
Thor got a little bit of a buff too. So
they also already had other team ups that they're a part of too. So
yeah.
You can still get revived by Hela as Thor, and you can still make a giant fire tornado with Human Torch and Storm. And Human Torch got buffed, so maybe we'll see more of that.
Right. So very, very cool. Well, we do have one mailbag that we'd like to address in this week's episode. Nick, would you be a deer?
Sure. Well,
read it.
First, Marcy, why don't you roll the mailbag music? Okay, so this mailbag came from our Discord, and it's nice, short, and sweet, like a Discord message. It just says, "Initiating surrender." Why?
A very fair point. Good.
Why would we ever
good
use
person.
that? And yeah, why? Explain.
I don't have an answer for you, to be honest. Death before surrender every single freaking time, as far as I'm concerned. I can't tell you how many games that I have started off feeling like we were getting absolutely slapped, and it just, there was no hope. We were just going to get stomped the whole game, and then we turn it around and we win. Sometimes the enemy team just has a really good setup. Your groove isn't on yet with either yourself or your teammates, like you're warming up in the match and the enemy team's already warmed up, or whatever it is. Like you can just have a really bad initial matchup, and then your team switches to compensate and gets in the groove, and you take it back. Like I'm not a fan of surrender. And then when it comes to like ranked and stuff too, like if somebody disconnects, that would be the one time where like, yeah, do you really want to carry on for a full match when you're you only have five teammates?
I've won some of those too.
Yeah, you can win some of those,
but usually you don't. So I can understand moving on to play another game.
But people get backfilled, and then when it happens in ranked, like the ranked game just shuts down automatically anyway.
If it's at the beginning, it doesn't shut down. If
it's at the beginning,
yeah. That's kind of the one time that this makes sense to me, is when you're halfway through a ranked game and someone disconnects, and then you like cannot keep up with it. If you were already losing and someone disconnects, that's the one time I'm not going to judge you for starting a surrender vote. But honestly, for most of the time, like, this is a game where you are meant to counterpick. You are meant to adjust to things that are going on. You're not locked into characters from the moment you start the game. So if the enemy team is just wailing on you, like, try to change something up. A lot of the times it works. I can't tell you. I had a game, we were about to get ready to record. You hopped on and I was in the middle of it. And I was like, it's okay. We're trying to push the first point, and we're in overtime, and we're not doing well. This will be over soon. We won that game. We made it all the way to the end of the third point, of the third checkpoint, because every single time we would stall out. It would look like we were going to lose, and then, oh wait, no, actually we pushed through and we moved on, and it went through. So in a ranked game where people are initiating surrender after the first one doesn't go well, like, if they held you for 5 minutes on the first point, you might hold them for 5 minutes on the first point. Don't just give up. Like, it's yeah. So honestly, initiating surrender, theoretically, it's there to help you speed up if a game is just an absolute loss, and not have to play out 10 more minutes of something so that you can have a better chance at another one. But in reality, there are very, 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 very few situations where you know that that's what's happening.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah, and because Marvel Rivals is we've talked about this a number of times, because it is so much of a tug of war style game, of an action reaction, um, based hero shooter. There, let's say you have a mirror match, and they're just objectively better at you at every single one of those characters. Like, guess what? All of those characters have counter picks,
exactly.
and when you're able to think like that, when you understand the game on a level where you know who is going to counter Magneto, who's going to counter Penny, who's going to deal with the Flyers on the enemy team, whatever it may be, you get to flex your strategic brain and get better and better at dealing with the matchup. So yeah.
Yeah, and one last thing to give you a reason not to initiate surrender. Uh, Initiating surrender is you're digging your own grave, and here's my explanation for this. When I am playing a game and the first round doesn't go well and we're going on to the second one, and someone on my team, usually after the round has started, I don't know why people don't do this in the pregame, but they always do it like once it started. When someone initiates surrender on that, now all of a sudden, instead of playing I'm gonna vote no every time. I'm going to vote no, and you have to get all of the votes to say yes. There will be someone on your team who votes no, unless everyone's agreed before you start the vote that, yeah, we're going to surrender, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you do that, I have this thing popping up on the side of my screen. I'm distracted now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting F6 or whatever it is to say no. And then I'm also now spending this entire time thinking, like, this jerk is like giving up already and throwing the game when we totally have a
Yeah.
chance to win this. Like, I'm feeling like I'm having to make up for you being a liability on the team because you're giving up way too early, and you're probably, like, there's all this like demotivation and like team dynamic issues that you're introducing that didn't need to be there. Just play it
Yep.
out silently and see how it goes, and you can
Yep.
initiate surrender towards the end if we've made zero progress and there's 20
Yeah.
seconds left. That's fine.
Yep. Remove the surrender option, die with glory. So yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page. I knew we would be. We didn't talk about this before, but I knew we'd be on the same page. Join us on our page if you are surrenderers. Stop it. Get some help. Oh man. Well, season 2, dude. We've talked a whole freaking lot about Emma, about the balance patches, about the dev vision, the updates, the team ups, everything. There's been so very much to cover, and now we get to really dive in and experience it moment to moment. So thank you all so much for listening to episode 11 of our podcast. If you'd like even more Friends and Rivals content, consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. Hey, maybe you'll be the one to make a comment on our competitive chats that we'll bring up next episode. And if you've got a question you'd like us to answer, drop it in the Discord chat or in the comments on Spotify for this episode, or shoot it directly to our Gmail. So, yeah. See you in season 2 of the Multiverse of Marvel.